Thank you for stopping at Playing in Traffic. Wait a minute, let me start over. Hello, my name is Lewis from All Ins Magazine, and I'd like to welcome everybody to Playing in Traffic. And we are here tonight with John Day. He's the oil specialist, and he's going to join us in a little bit. And we're going to start this blab, episode 20.
Woo! Go ahead, Junior, intro yourself.
My name is Lewis Lee Jr., and tonight I'm Dr. Evil.
Lou Santiago. I host CarFix on Velocity, and next week I actually start teaching at Central Piedmont Community College.
So you are an academic, sir.
Yes. I'm going to be. I'm going to.
Scholar.
Here comes John. I'm gonna. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not. It's academia. Is that it? Is that right?
You're in the world of academia.
That's it.
When I come down to Florida, I'm gonna buy you a sports coat. You know, with the patches on the elbow.
No, I want to get a lab coat with Dr. embroidered on it and a pocket protector. That's what I want to do.
Oh, that's awesome.
With screwdrivers in it. You gotta have screwdrivers in it.
Oh yeah. And the little machinist scale, like the 6-inch machinist scale, you know, with the clip on it so it stays in, you know.
That's funny. But so you're going to be going down there on you said on the 4th, right? Or
yeah, I gotta go to the school on the 4th and talk to my boss, and you know, like I've already seen the schedule. They're gonna tell me what I need to do, and I'm gonna ask the more, to me, the more important questions, like, you know, do I need to bring tools? What do I need to do? Because the way I'm envisioning it is there's a guy named Ryan who's also going to be teaching. He's the paint and body guy, and he's got all the certifications, and I guess they got me like a time. They got a time frame for me to get the ASE stuff done. So what I think is going to happen is I take the test on the 30th. They gave me some time to get all the stuff squared away. I'll teach a suspension class, and the way I'm envisioning it is I want to do 2 to 3 days of class, and then have these. I have 2 S10s with all the pieces to do the front ends. Pull them in the shop. Split the class in half work on one, half work on the other. We rebuild the front ends, and then I explain as we go along. Because what I know just from my dealings with mechanics, a lot of them are hands-on guys. So if they're touching it, they learn it better. So what we'll do is we'll take the nose off of each truck so you can see everything and it's easy to get into. We'll rebuild the front ends, and then when they're done, we'll put the fenders and everything back on. Then we're going to take the beds off, and I'm going to have them do one of them is going to do a triangulated 4-bar on the rear suspension, and the other one's going to do a torque on. And they're going to have to narrow the rear ends because, you know, the wheels and tires, of course, you know, aren't going to be stock. And they'll just have to make it happen. And even if the wheels were stock, we're going to change the rear ends out anyway. We're going to get rid of those anemic 7.4 10-bolt rear ends that came in the Vega back in the 70s that they revived to put in the S10.
They had an overstock.
Yeah, floating around from the 70s. But that's what I want to start with. And then, you know, go from there. I got a couple of really cool international pickup trucks I want to build front clips for, and just do different suspension stuff. You know, I actually want to do. There's a lot of guys who will sit there and say, "Oh, it's wrong, it's bullshit, you shouldn't do it." But I'm gonna, you know, a lot of guys still clip cars. You know, they'll take the front end from, say, a 78 Malibu or a 70 Camaro and put that front end and weld it to the original frame of like a 55 pickup truck. There's still a ton of guys that do that, and there's a bunch of people who say it's wrong. I've done some for people, but to me, it's always been one of those things where there's a certain way you got to do it, because I've run into guys where they put this whole front end together and they didn't have any weight on the suspension. and then when they put the engine in, the cross member's on the ground, and they can't drive the car. You know, when I do mine, I put the engine and transmission in it, and I actually throw a couple more pounds of weight on it just to simulate the fenders and the radiator and all that. And then I slide it into the frame, and then I cut what I need to cut, and I weld it in. So, I mean, I'm even going to do a couple of those. Ray, what up?
Hello, boys. Good to see you.
Hey, Ray.
How are you, boys? So, Lou, when you're saying you put you weigh it down, you put some weight. What do you sit on the frame rails to give it a little heft?
I get my sons to sit on it.
I'm busting your balls, Lou. That's all.
I get my sons to do it. It's easier that way.
Nice.
So, Lou, do they have a paint shop there at
Yes, they
in your section.
They have a guy that they're going to have a guy named Ryan. I haven't met him yet, but they hired him when they hired me, and he's a paint and body guy. And from what I understand, he does custom stuff too. So he's going to be doing that. Because I don't do paint and body.
Yeah.
I don't do paint and body. It's not my deal. I don't want to do it. I have no desire to do it. So he's going to do that. And but I've got connections in that world. So if I need to get stuff, I'm sure I can get stuff. You know,
right?
Because I'm going to supply the projects for what I teach.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I went on the tour a couple of months ago, there was 12 cars there. Probably 8 of them hadn't been touched because they're students' cars, and they ran out of money, and now they're just sitting there. So everybody's huddled around 1 or 2 cars. It's ridiculous. You know, you're not learning that way.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I got a yard full of cars, so I'll bring stuff in and we'll cut it up. It don't matter to me.
Yep.
That's what I'm going to do.
Good idea.
Just make it happen.
You know, Lou, through the college I work at full time, I got involved with the education automotive program, and the hardest thing to do was to find. I get this echo, man. That's the hardest thing to deal with. That's better.
That's better. Can you turn your gains down, maybe?
Mine are not adjustable, but that went away. That just stopped.
Okay.
It was you.
I don't know. Listen, I went out again today, Lou, and I got to show you just for you. Maybe you want to tell you. I don't know if Lou. I don't know if you guys have ever had the opportunity to go to a White Castle.
Yep.
You have? Okay, so
they got them in Ohio.
Yeah, we got them in Cleveland.
Yeah. All right. So it's not an inside joke. All right. Anyway, the hardest problem I had was to find curriculum material because none of it exists, or if it exists, nobody lets you know what they do. So I had to make it myself, and it was
right.
You know.
Well, and see that's the thing that kind of it bothers me, you know, because they're making this big deal of me getting certified, ASC certified, but yet there's what they want me to teach. There's no curriculum.
That's to cover the school's ass. That's why they want you.
I know certified. It is, but it's still. But I mean, it doesn't mean anything.
No, an ASC certification. I mean, they teach to the test. You could teach your kid to pass an ASE test.
Right, but that's not going to help them every day, because the thing is what I'm teaching them is we're going to build control arms, we're going to build front ends, we're going to do rear suspension, we're going to build this stuff, and you know you need to know it, but the way I learned it is so much simpler than the way the book explains it. I mean, I had this old guy teach me how, string a front end, you align it with the string. I had a guy the way he explained it to me was everything travels in a circle. If this control arm didn't have a ball joint tied to the spindle and there was no obstructions, it'd go round and round. So everything travels in a circle. Mm-hmm. So what you're trying to do is get your circles to align at the spindle pin or come as close as possible to the spindle pin. And when you stop and think about it, he's right.
Yeah. That's a great way to explain it. It really is.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So the way I do it is it's just easier because it makes sense to me. And when I tell people that, I mean, I've done seminars at shows and people are like, how come no one's ever explained it like that to me? You know what I mean? So it's
yeah. What I would
I know the information is in books, but you gotta remember something. A lot of these guys don't learn like the book people want them to learn.
See,
so you have to come up with different methods.
When I face that, I'll actually show them. I'll bring the book material and say, this is the way it's taught conventionally. And you can read this if you want at home. I'm going to show you how to do it my way. You know, and then you cover all bases.
That's what I was going to do.
Right. Well, you know, I noticed that with just regular college classes that you know, they teach you what's in the book, but then when you get out in the real world, when I got out of college and I started doing graphic design and stuff, it was stuff I learned in high school. You know what I mean? I mean, just stuff.
Well, I mean, let's talk about high school. I mean, so from grade pre-K to 12th grade, that's about 14 years. And in that time, what do you use every day? Reading, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. Outside of that, what do you use?
Stickball.
Yeah.
I mean, 14 years, and that's what you come out with 5 things that you use on a day-to-day basis.
But see, here's the thing. Like, I use geometry, but I don't use the conventional geometry that they show you in school. I mean, I use math every day. I mean, hell, I didn't know how to do fractions till I went back to school, but I do fractions every day because I got to read a tape measure.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's stuff like that. It needs to be, in my opinion, it needs to be stuff that's relevant. And all they're doing is they're dumbing everybody down. Like I found out the other day, the high school my youngest son goes to, a passing grade now is 60.
Wow.
I got a problem with that.
Yeah.
Because you know what? When they teach these kids stuff and then they come to a shop like mine, you know, and they want to learn how to build a car. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. Unless they're one of these kids that's just really gifted and their dad built cars. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen because they're not teaching them stuff that they need to know that's relevant to the world.
Yeah, right.
You know, I mean, and that's the thing, because you know what I do when a guy comes to me and he wants a car built, especially like a drag car, and I'm not the only one that feels like this. If you want me to build you a drag car that runs 8 seconds and a quarter mile or 10 seconds and a quarter mile, you're actually putting your life in my hands. I have to know how to do this thing and be able to do it so it's safe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But now here's the thing that you got to understand. The NHRA has rules. SFI everybody provides you with guidelines on how to build these things, but there's no school. I had a friend of mine who was at Rankin Technical College outside of St. Louis. He was building full-on drag cars. He just moved down to Mississippi and he's starting his business back up. He doesn't have a college degree. He knows how to build fast cars, and he's built stuff for guys in St. Louis. Dude, these guys are doing some serious street racing.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean? So where's the ASC certification for that? It doesn't exist because one, the ASC doesn't want to get involved in that.
Yeah.
They really don't. They don't want to get involved in that world.
And they can't tax.
You know, they can be exactly.
Can't make no money on it like that.
Exactly. Because the people that do that they don't care about it. The people that build that stuff, they don't care about that. Go to some of these big shops. I mean, custom shops, not dealerships, not general mechanic shops. How many of them have a sign that says ASC certified? Probably none, because they're not doing it.
Yeah, you don't see it on the TV shows like
exactly
like that famous one, Carfix. You never see those hanging up in there.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, every show I've ever done, no one has ever said to me, "Hey, Lou, are you ASC certified?"
Yeah.
No one ever said it, but yet I'm teaching 80 million people every weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're in 80 million houses around the world.
It's crazy.
So, you know, you got to have some kind of clue.
Yeah.
And our shows are ad lib.
Yeah.
So I got something going on. Because what the hell is going on?
Lou's getting attacked.
But the thing, and see, the thing is, you know, the people in charge of schools have gotten away from vocational. They've gotten away from it, and it's going to be, and it's one of the demises of this whole country, this whole establishment.
Yeah.
Because where are these people going to come from to replace the sink in their house, to replace the toilet in their house?
Yeah.
Who's going to lay the bricks to build their house?
Yeah.
Who's going to fix their car?
Yeah,
You know?
and they're making it hard to even work on the new cars. I heard they're trying to pass the
ridiculous.
law that you can't work on your own car. Have you heard that?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? And you know why? Because they can't tax it.
Yep.
You know, but here's the thing. I stopped general wrench turning 93. I stopped. I don't do it anymore because, one, I don't have $5,000 to $8,000 to spend on a scanner. Two, I'm not going to spend $5,000 to $8,000 for the software to run that scanner, knowing that in a year, 2 years, that software is going to be obsolete.
Yeah, you got to update it. Yep.
Not only that, don't forget you got to buy the training that goes with that.
And that was my next thing. And now I got to pay a bunch of money. You know, even if it's $1,500 for training, I'm looking at almost $10,000. No, It's not worth it to me.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not worth it to me when I can build hot rods for guys, build them really nice stuff, and they pay.
Yeah, make $100,000.
You know, fellas, we have a guy, our good friend Joe D. We call him Obi-Don Cannoli. Well, he's a Star Wars fan and he's Italian. He's from Queens.
Don Cannoli, I like that.
And he works for Standard Motors in Long Island City.
Yeah.
But as a second job, he's a mobile tech. He goes to certain shops with his. I say he's got the world's most expensive Camry because he's got about $30,000 worth of scanners in the trunk, and he diagnoses the cars that they don't know how to fix.
Right.
When he has a cash business, it's nice. But we have him on the show often on Motormouth Radio, and all he does is eat, sleep, think, and breathe. Trouble codes, diagnostic trouble trees, flow charts. You got to be committed to that world. You know, you really have to.
Here's the thing, though. That's a different brain than what I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
He's more analytical. So it works great for him because you got to understand something. I don't do electrical because it makes 0 sense to me.
Right.
I don't get it. I can do hydraulics. I taught myself how to build transmissions, but doing that electrical stuff, it boggles my mind.
Hey, John, we got you.
Man. John's frozen.
But
John's frozen again.
Hey,
you're froze.
All the squirrels, we're frozen up here, man. I got to move up to some high-tech stuff.
Yeah, you got to get stuff like Lou.
I do oils and grease and spray. This electronic stuff has got this old guy just nuts, like you guys were talking about the scanners, ECUs, and if it don't plug in the wall, I don't know how to operate it.
I hear you.
I got stuff like this just hanging around, like falling off my shit.
Yes.
You know, it's like it's not hard. It's just another mindset, like you said, Lou. With the right amount of training, you teach electrical. I teach electrical the way I would teach plumbing because it's about flow. It's about resistance to flow. Current and voltage follow the same properties as water. Of course, you don't want them to mix because then you get the EMTs at your house.
Right.
You know.
Right. And I get that. I mean, but you know, the thing is the academics need to understand that not everybody's wired the same way. They say they do, but they really don't.
You're right.
Because what's the first thing that happens to these poor kids when they go into these, you know, when they do take these classes? The academics have got all of this stuff mapped out and they can't, and they, you know, they don't see anything. You know, I was talking to a shop teacher. He does wood shop. He said the intro class, if you teach the intro class the way Raleigh has it all mapped out, those kids will never see the shop, their first intro class. They won't see it.
Wow.
They're not going to see it.
Why is that, Lou?
Because of the way they've got the curriculum. Someone wrote the curriculum.
Somebody that wasn't even in that field.
What happens is they get a guy like you to write the curriculum, right? guys don't know anything about electrical. They got to put their fingerprints on it because they got to be somebody. And now all of a sudden, the curriculum isn't yours anymore. It has your name on it, but you didn't write it because they all changed it.
Yeah.
I mean, and then they put you, and then I went to the auto shop here at one of the high schools. There's 30 kids in there, one car in the lift. They're all huddled around this car. What are you going to learn there? You're not learning.
I know at the school that I work at, I've been there for 30 years now. The curriculum, it's state-based. So the New York State Education Department kind of lays down the framework of what has to be taught in any given course. And then the faculty has some leeway to tailor it to what they do.
Right.
But the formula is there. And then, of course, the way somebody teaches it, the way I teach it and you teach it, can be vastly different. And that's why students have teachers they like and teachers they hate. Right. Some guys are great, some guys suck. Let's face it.
Yeah.
Well, hey guys, let's John in. He's our special guest tonight. John, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you got going on.
Well, as you know, as I'm from Canada, as you guys call it, I'm with Pathfinder Lubricants. I'm a distributor, dealer, seller, tech advisor. I do it all now after 25 years. And we deal with oil additives, fuel additive, grease, penetrant lubricants. So I go anywhere in the country, farming, industrial, cars, boats, you name it. If it's got oil, fuel, and grease, I'm there. We're a Canadian company. We've been around 25 years. So I've been around a long time, and I'm still learning. I follow Lou's. Lou's, you do it right. You tell the kid you learn something, ask the silly questions, and go for it. I do it every day.
Yeah. Well, it's to me, there's no silly questions, so I answer them all. If I know the answer, I give you the information. I know and I love the picture of you with all the superheroes. By the way,
that's cool.
Oh,
hey, all of them need oil.
All of them need oil. Yeah.
Who's the hot chick on top of Ellie Mae Clampett there with the midriff? That's what I want to know.
That's Supergirl.
And hell yeah.
Oiled up.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
That was a fun show for the community. For the community of Mississauga. The Mississauga Classic Car Club have a big show.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So we have lots of fun.
So, John, tell us.
I'm sorry.
John, tell us what kind of products that you're promoting, and what are they good for? Why do we need oil?
Well, I figured it out finally. The oil additive that we deal with is Rycon 1. Now, you only use it by the ounce or less because it is additive. A lot of people don't realize in oil there's about 30 different products in there that make it what it is. 80 to 90% of oil is just crude oil, and then the rest of it is all what I call the vitamins.
The vitamins.
Yeah, well, to make people understand, guys will say, I don't use additives. Well, your ketchup's got it. Everything's got it.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to use the right ones. This is the big thing with people. They'll see a product and say, well, I'll put that in and make my car better or my gearbox is better. But they don't really diagnose their problem. And then they go the wrong way and they end up in trouble. But with Rycon 1, I kind of explain it like it's part of the DNA of oil, but the better parts of it. So we add that to a liter of oil or quart of oil, about an ounce.
Mm-hmm.
What does it do? It doesn't dry down like regular oils, for one. So it's always there for your dry and cold starts. So that's where we reduce the wear big time. Then it will take up to 600 degrees in temperature. So that's a good benefit. It blends with petroleum, synthetics, about 99.9% of the oils that are on the market for everybody to use.
John, is your product organic or is it synthetic?
It is petroleum. When
So
you
it's organic.
dissect, it's petroleum based. Yeah, it's all part of it. So it's like a DNA. There's a certain part of that molecule chain that you take is better than the rest that they're selling us every day.
Got you. Now,
So it's like a stem cell.
does it make the oil last longer? Does it break down as fast?
Yeah, that's one of the things. Like when it takes a high temperature of 600 degrees and you're running at 260 or whatever, we're going to keep your viscosity longer.
Got you. Now,
and no matter what oil you put it in, it is part of those characteristics. So if it's a 0W60, it isn't thickening the oil like a viscosity improver, but it's a high film strength, very high.
Got
Motor
it.
oil, your basic will take about 30,000 psi. Synthetics are about 45,000. We take up to 200,000 psi.
So, John, does that
I know that sounds.
does it bond on a molecular level and increase surface tension?
Yes.
Okay.
It gives you a film.
Okay.
As you've been hearing lately about oils, about shearing and film strength, finally. The last time I've seen that on a bottle of oil was 1988. It said shear stable.
Right. So, all right. Jim of Lazoin
What they
Truck,
call boundary.
he wants to know how it compares to Lucas Oil Stabilizer and diesel, because I know he's got a 3406E and an 85 Kenworth, a B model, and it
Yes.
was rebuilt at 1 million miles, and I think it's probably got about 150K on it now, maybe even more after the rebuild. And he's running that thing over the road. So with that said, how does that compare? He wants to know how it compares to Lucas's stabilizer, their oil stabilizer. Or is it a different, or does it do something different? Because I don't know what Lucas what their stuff does.
Well, Lucas is a viscosity improver.
Okay.
So if you had a 15W40, it will what I call fatten the oil. Make it more viscous, thicker.
Right.
So if it's taking up volume in the engine where you have wear, helping with blow by, it does what it does. Like I was saying, specifically, if you have those issues, you'd want to use something like that. And also with ours, we will give you a better seal around the rings and help you with the blow by, but also lubricate, drop the temperatures, and get into, because it's only 1 micron thick. That's 1/180th of a hair. So when you hear of all this nanotechnology, we've been doing it for 25 years.
So
that's if you need that product, like the Lucas one, the viscosity.
So yours does different than the Lucas product.
It doesn't change the viscosity. So it's a 1540. It stays 1540 with the improvements of film strength. So you will reduce your blow by, but you're not changing your viscosity. As you go higher in the viscosity, if you're making that 1540, now you're going to make it like a 2060. That's the wrong way to go in a cold climate.
So it improves lubricity also.
That's number one. We are lubrication.
Got you. Okay.
I used the product years ago.
It has 270K on it.
I was using a product years ago that was just straight PTFE, and again, it didn't add to the volume of oil. And I always think on our radio show, we always believe we talk about mechanic in a can all the time, like products like this, and the pros and cons. We'll lay it right out on the line like that. But this stuff I found actually helped my manual transmission shift easier. The rear end, you can't tell if the rear end spins easier, but the burnouts were easier. And,
the tires didn't last as long.
No, not at all. And now that was a straight up PTA, tetrofluoro. I forget, it was like a 14-letter word, and it was straight up synthetic. How does your product compare to that PTFE product, John?
Well, one, it isn't a solid. It works with the oil. How long will that metal treatment last on a metal sliding, rolling part? Your oil isn't doing anything there, is it?
Well, yeah, this
the best way is doing ceramic coatings and stuff like that. Yeah. How much of it's going to be on there, I don't know. Because a lot of it, some of the PTFEs, that Dow Corning make or whoever, they won't adhere in a cold, wetted environment. They're going to flake off and be suspended and then go into the filtering system. A lot of people don't read the instructions, like shaking it well, getting it to optimum temperature. But as a metal treatment, you're coating the metal, changing tolerances. You're also, the oil could break down quicker because you're adding the metal treatment, which is going to let you go to a higher temperature, but it isn't really cooling in that as quickly. So you really want to be careful with your temperatures. Make sure they're not climbing as much, because you're going to have spots where those metal treatments will not adhere. That's what I worry about, and wrong application.
Got you. So how much would you use in 11 gallons of oil? That's a lot of oil.
That's a lot of oil.
Yeah. Well, if you look at a quart of oil, like I said, 80 to 90% crude oil. The rest of it is additives. Approximately about 30 different products in there that make up the chemistry. Plus, you don't want to overdose it. 1 ounce per quarter liter. So for every gallon, you're going to use about 3.5 ounces, 4 ounces.
3.5 for every gallon.
Yeah, you're going to use about 35 ounces approximately.
That's a lot.
U.S. Yeah, but when you consider, you take petroleum oil at, say, up here in Canada, we're getting ripped pretty good at about $5 a quart, right? And you can get it on sale for $16 buying a name brand. If you move to synthetic, you're paying $4 to $6 a liter more.
Oh yeah.
Where I can do it just totally. I can do like a transport truck. They hold like 35 quarts or whatever around there. You dump a liter of my stuff in, that's $50 Canadian.
Right.
And it won't void warranties. And the best way of tracking these things, as you guys know, is doing oil analysis. That's the only way to do it. It's like doing a blood test on your motor. And it's great for reselling your vehicle or a piece of equipment too. And it's cheap in oil analysis. I do tons of them. I don't personally do them. I do them through a laboratory in Alberta.
Well, I got a guy who said he'll try it. Send him some. He'll put it in his rig.
That's what everybody likes. Give me a sample. You know how much my kids use?
John, where can we find a product? Where can we buy that product?
It's up in Canadian.
Right now, we're working on the. Yeah. We'll fly it down by Pelican for you.
We're gonna head north.
No, we're working on getting more. We're trying to get more and more U.S. distribution. I'm working on that in the last year. And my dealers that I deal with, I like them to try the product for probably 3 to 6 months. Keep tabs on it, because if you don't use it, you can't believe it.
Right.
When I first got into it, I tried it on my Grand National, and I did every part on that car. And the turbo lag was almost gone. When I was at the drag strip with it, other guys were ice bagging everything in 95-degree heat, and I beat the other 3 Grand Nationals there with just Pirelli tires in my product. So the temperature drop is phenomenal. I've seen head temperatures drop 60 degrees.
Can
So
they
it
want to
doesn't-
know? They want to know
Yeah,
if
go
they
ahead.
can run it with Lucas Oil treatment. Well, they want to know if they can.
Being a petroleum product, it will mix, but we don't like to mix additives. It's like mixing
Got it.
drugs. You don't know what they've got in their product, and I've never seen an issue. I've tried doing it myself here and there with demolition cars where they use a lot of it because those engines are just red bombs ready to go, and we just don't do it. I like the guys to do an engine flush or do one petroleum oil change just to be safe because you don't know.
Right.
They say buyers are liars.
That's
So, John, oil, it's so important and it's so prevalent. I mean, if you have an engine, you need oil. What are some of the things that consumers, customers, the general public, what are some of the myths that you see that aren't just true?
Myths. Let's face it, commercials sway a lot of people. I had one guy, he got a rebuilt engine by a great guy, and he watched something, and he put one product in. He had a problem with that engine. Then he put another product in, and he had a real problem. People just get swayed by it. It's like, you watch the K-Tel products. The guy sells the spray-on hair. After so much, people buy it. As you notice at the top of my head, I didn't use very much. The myths people always want, like you said earlier, Ray, was the mechanic in a bottle. It
Right.
isn't going to happen. If you've got that much trouble, it's going to be rebuilt. My product won't hurt anything, and a lot of them don't because a lot of the products are cleaners, which is great because the fuels aren't very good today. This is the main problem I see up here is the ethanol fuels. Guys are using it in older vehicles, and they end up with more sludge, more water, poorer performance. So Rycon itself in the oil, it will dissipate moisture and coolant. So if you've got a leaky head gasket, things of that nature going in, the Rycon will actually move it away from the moving parts, and you'll see the residue up in your valve cover cap, or if you're really bad, you're going to see foaming up a dipstick. And odds are we're going to save the bottom end of that engine.
Wow.
I've done it many times. My little Bonneville, the computer was shot on it, so I figured I'd blow it up. So I drained the oil. I put in 12 ounces of antifreeze. I had exhaust temperatures of almost 800 degrees. And my mechanic was going nuts. He was just redlining it. And it still ran. I drove it to the wreckers after. So I'm not saying run with no oil. That's a dumb thing to do. Top up the oil, just a little bit under the line because you want to go for expansion of fluid so you don't blow seals. There's a lot of things people do and they cheapen out on oil. That's the blood. Tires and oil to me are the main things. Oil's cheap. Your engine's $2,000. You know what I mean? It's a joke. For $48, $50, you can change the oil every 5,000 or whatever. It doesn't make sense, but I see people do it all the time.
Yeah. The Lozone truck.
But the Rycon is a phenomenal.
What do you feel? Who do you feel is the best oil analysis company? But do you deal with oil analysis companies in the States, John?
I have through a lot of the oil companies. Here's another thing is some of them get down in the States. You have a little bit of a different setup than Canada. There's some independents that have got great names and they do a good. And then, but a lot of them, they'll go through a university that they support also. But here in Canada, I use Agate and WearCheck. So sometimes I'll go back and forth and see if there's.
I think WearCheck's in the States. I want to say I've heard that.
You know, because you always need a good backup.
I want to say, hey Nick, can you get me a bottle of water?
We have one up here. I know that they're in Jersey because we had the guy in the radio show. It's a few years ago, so I don't remember the name. But they do a comprehensive test. They'll send you I think it's 6 test tubes, and they have a myriad of things they test for. It's
right.
All the heavy metals and chemicals and whatnot. And they even know if you listen to disco, though.
I believe it. I believe it.
That's hilarious.
But
They got the heavy metal on my radio. They got the disco on his.
But I never listened to disco.
Okay.
I was of the mindset that disco did suck.
Yeah. I got the bumper sticker upstairs, Twisted Sister.
I mean, I was a punk rock guy.
Really?
John, what got you started in the industry?
Oh, geez. Well, I was in the printing business, but my pressman, when I was a kid, about 17, he ran Nitro Burning Hill Climbers.
Nice.
His name is John Williams, out of Markham, Ontario. And I was a kid. I didn't know anything. So I went down to Syracuse, Utica, Columbus, Ohio with him on this. He had a KR 74 Harley, KR 45, sorry. And he was pretty much the only Canadian running against our U.S. brothers down there. And he was winning. And then I got more into the bikes and the cars and everything. So I ended up kind of being his pit crew and learning. And one day I had my jacket on, and Johnny had won the world's championship 4 times, Canadian's first world's motorsport champion, Guinness Book of Records 4 times. And so I'm wearing this jacket on with the sponsors and everything. The guy taps me on the shoulder in the bank. He says, "We're looking for somebody to do a commercial," and he wanted to do us. So he gave me the products, and I started testing my Grand National in it and everything, and it was awesome. It worked, each part. The shifts were great. But that's how I got into this part. And because I was, always changing oil and everything, and changing plugs and so on, and trying to get the right combinations. And basically, that's how it started. I tested it in the cars, and it worked. Better performance, better mileage. The oil drains were better. Like the quality of your oil is better at the end of the oil drain. It isn't all black and tar. It shouldn't be that way. The old thinking was the more black I had in it, the better the oil was.
It's like the old graphite
in the old
oils.
days.
I remember them.
Yes. Arco. I used to buy Arco graphite oil.
Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of scared me when it came out black. I'm like, oh my God, out of the bottle.
Geez,
Yeah, I remember the Arca. I remember that stuff.
Yeah. That's because you're old, Lou.
Just dated yourself, Ray.
Thank you. Hey, I made it to 57. Now, what can I say? It's kind of like a badge these days. I almost didn't a few times.
So do you guys I remember we talked up in Canada, John, but for the life of me, I've been asleep since then, so I don't remember much. You guys have oil. Do you have fuel treatment also? Yeah, do you do what other stuff do you have besides the oil? Besides the oil.
Oh, the fuel treatment we use is called, it's Tri-Jet. You use 1 ounce to 15 U.S. gallons or 55 liters. What that does is Well, if you've ever seen them treat a fuel tankard, they take a big pickle jar and they put an additive in it, and then they say it's okay. The Tri-Jet, what it does is lubricate your fuel pump. Now, when you get into your injectors, it leaves a residual of film of lubricant. That way you do not get the contamination like carbon bits pitting the pintle.
Right.
But it also atomizes the fuel, so more spark or compression can burn up the fuel and get the most power out of it. And then it'll lubricate the upper compression ring. My favorite part is valve recession. It will lubricate the valves. So if you were using lead, you know, in the older cars, lubricant, now you can use this. And it won't plug any O2s, catalytics, anything. We proved with Environment Canada in '92, we improved the fuel burn by 26% in a diesel, which is pretty close to gasoline testing also. So we would gain, on the average, my customers will gain anywhere from 8 to 15% fuel economy on the average.
Yeah, that's especially in a big rig that only gets like 8 miles to the gallon. Wow. So you can dump it in too, I think.
Just with a fuel additive.
No, you're fine. I had to throw in.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
So you can use it in diesel fuel and regular fuel and regular gas. Awesome.
Yes. And if you've got any two-stroke stuff, it's phenomenal. As soon as
I'm not in California. I got two-stroke stuff
and working right
Me
away.
Me too. I'd use 3-stroke if I could.
We got a guy here, Art 330. He wants to know if you can.
That's 330.
Lou, yeah, dyslexia. Don't mind me.
That's my area code.
Okay.
330.
So he wants to know 330 wants to know if I'm gonna say yes, you can, but just to be safe, he wants to know do you use it in gear oil also?
Yes, the only place you don't put it in is in your brakes. Limited slip and posi, the old stuff, but I've put it in, but we don't recommend it unless you test it. But the gearboxes, definitely. Manual transmissions, hydraulics, like almost anything you can think of, cutting oils, tapping oils, because it's additive. It's a little different than what people are used to. And you got no ash, things of that nature. So you're going to burn clean, very clean. And it's going to lubricate. It's going to drop the temperature. Longer life like crazy. You're going to get 3 or 4 times the life on a gearbox easy. I did a dragster, and the guy was getting 6 runs out of the diff. I got him to 12.
I lost him.
Yeah.
Manual transmissions are going to be a lot smoother. We also use it in automatic transmissions, but we only use like 1/3 of an ounce per quart because we don't need all that high film strength. Okay. So what does it do? It lubricates the valve body system. My Grand National had a very hard, long shift. I put in 3.5 ounces in that tranny. It held about 10 quarts. Smooth as a button. It would shift quicker. Bam, bam, bam. The power
All
is
right,
right
so
there.
send me a case so I can put it in an 18-speed. We're gonna see how this stuff works. We'll chuck it in an 18-speed, and we'll chuck it in some 44,000-pound rear ends. We'll see how this does. We'll put it through a real-world test.
Hey, John, what about?
Hey, we're losing
Yeah,
money
I'm
on the
running
Canadian
a
dollar.
Tremec 5-speed
I'm
in my
sorry, Ray?
Pontiac right now, and that runs the Dexron 4. That really smelly, really thin. It's almost like an automatic transmission fluid in the manual gearbox.
Yeah.
Would your product work as well in that transmission? Okay.
Yes. When I don't know a fluid, what I do is I get a sample of that fluid and I test it on a friction machine. If I don't know anything about it, I check all the statistics and specs on it just in case there's something funny in it that I don't know. So I put it on there, and if it foams up, changes color really quick or something like that, then I know. I only need like 2 ounces. So generally, anything in the automotive industry, 99.9%. Tiptronics, Volvos. I've done a lot of vehicles and never had a problem.
By God, I'm telling you, we got an Eaton 13 speed that could use it.
Yeah.
It would work nice and easy.
What's that in, Lou? What's the Eaton in?
It's in
it would work nice.
It's in my friend's 85 Kenworth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I gotta. I'm stretching it when I start teaching.
Oh yeah, good.
Stretch.
Good. Outside the
baby.
box.
310, baby. That's where we're going. He said he didn't want, no more than that, but I'm gonna give it to him. 310.
Yeah. What's he gonna do when you already cut it?
Exactly. And you know what? He won't be there anyway.
Yeah. Oops. 5 feet longer. Sorry.
I just gotta find me a car hauler axle. So when I can do the front and get it the right ride height, you know what I mean? Low.
At bug catcher height.
There you go. But yeah. So okay. So do you have any so John, I know you said you're working on distributors in the States. How many distributors do you have in the States right now then?
Dealers right now, I think there's about 4, and most of them are in manufacturing, like warehousing, fork,
right?
Things of that nature.
That's cool.
So this year I'm going to be working on it.
So you can put it in just about anything. You'll test it if you're not sure. It's petroleum based. Any other questions, guys? I mean, I'm thinking now, and I don't, because he's answered mine.
Mm-hmm.
Increased lubricity.
Yeah.
Surface tension. It's all the good stuff. It's everything that we want to know about. Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, John.
Can I use it for a salad dressing? I mean, I'll make a nice little wishbone. I don't know. Put it in my White Castle.
Well, when you're evacuating your system or doing your change, I think it'll come out a lot quicker.
Hey, John. If you could type in your address, so people in the chat room can go check out your website. If you type it in the chat room.
Yeah. And people, don't be surprised if it doesn't say .com. It says .ca. It's Canadian.
I love the questions, guys. Canadian. That's where I have my most fun, guys. I love the questions and the troubleshooting. That's where I have my most fun, guys.
Here's one. Does it raise
my website?
Does it raise cetane, CTANE levels?
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Cetane, okay.
Well, the cetane and diesel. I kind of call it the opposite.
What's it doesn't raise them?
No, it does not. It does about a half point.
Okay.
It does about a half point or a point. See, in diesel, there's a lot of different issues than gasoline. and to make the vehicles feel like they're performing better but lasting longer. They do. It's like using a high test. It's just that there's so many issues with diesel right now, and guys are in a lot of trouble. Now they're going to 5W30, and I'm going to see a lot of problems this year. But the cetane level, I'm going to say no. But we do get a half point to a point. You know, we're not getting getting the 3 and the 5s that the guys really like. You know, but all the other things, you're going to get the oil pressures are better. Okay, the injectors are going to run better. You're not going to get stiction, which is a big thing with in the diesel industry. Things of that nature. So there's a lot of benefits that I could go on with. But you know, check out the site. Ask me the questions. I love it. If I don't know the answer, I'll talk to the tribologist.
Okay, John.
Not an engineer. And
hey, we really appreciate.
Yeah.
Well, just one.
Yeah. How do you
that word? I like that.
one
I've
big
never heard that
word,
word
Lou.
before, the tribologist. That's a T-shirt. Yes, I'm the tribologist.
Well, hey, John, we really appreciate you coming on and giving us some knowledge on the oil. This is a subject. Yeah, this is a subject that you don't really hear too much about, and it's very important. So, you know, having you on is a great plus. So here's a question. What is your favorite car?
No, thank
For John or everybody?
For John.
Ah,
Bam!
There it is. The Willys.
A Willys.
nice.
Is that a glass?
Yes.
That's one, John.
Yes.
Is that John's?
No.
Remember
Oh.
Chili Willy?
Sweet.
Hey, do you
Is that
remember-
a steel Willys?
Probably glass.
Yeah. Hey, do you remember the show Grease Lightning or Streak Lightning
Oh.
with Richard Pryor?
That
Oh,
was
grease lightning.
Grease Lightning. Was it Grease Lightning? No, it was
Greased Lightning.
was it
Oh,
when
God,
he was
yeah.
racing Moonshine?
Right.
Yeah, he was the Willys man there.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Greased Lightning. Yeah.
It's like Stroke or Ace.
Stroke Race was Burt Reynolds.
Right. Burt Reynolds.
It was Burt Reynolds.
Now
Yeah.
you're
Oh,
speaking
yeah,
my language
gas.
with the gases, man. That's my next project.
I'd have to make it low. I'm sorry. I can't do that. I can't do that gasser look, man.
Well, I know where you can get a good look for it.
Can't do it, man. Does nothing for me. They're
You're a
cool, don't
lowrider
get me
guy,
wrong. They're cool,
gotta-
don't get me wrong, but can't do it,
You
man.
You got to go low.
I get a nosebleed looking at it, man. Hold on.
Hey, that's the Latino. Hey, that's the Latino in you.
That's right. That's the lowrider, man. The lowrider in you.
Yeah.
The Riviera. Deuce and a quarter.
Yep. Can't
Nice.
do it, man. I gotta have them low. I like a low Willys. I do. I like a low Willys. I do. Which is so not a Willys.
Right.
So not a Willys. God. You tuning out, John?
I'll tune out right now, guys. I'll tune out. Yeah, well, the people want to talk to you guys, and I.
Hey, we appreciate
I
you
could
coming
go on
on.
for
Thanks for
days.
coming by, John. I appreciate it.
we'll-
I really do.
Yeah. And we'll post you on the we're gonna
thanks.
post you on the website, and you know we'll promote you
Thanks
much
for your
as we
time,
can.
And I put the link to this that when Lou sends me the copy, I put the link to the copy up on my forum so people can go to GarageInsiderTV.com and see it. So they can actually see like a rebroadcast of it. It's pretty cool.
You know, Lou, if you guys ever want to take some of these guests and give them radio exposure, send them over to me. Well, I'll give them a spot on the radio show.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
You want to go on the radio show, John? It's a
We
phone.
play nice.
You don't have to do internet.
Yeah.
There you go. There
We
you go.
do
Ray,
too.
book it.
I look
Make it
better
happen,
on
Ray.
radio.
All right. You got it.
Yeah, Ray, you're showing an appearance on our website right now. Matter of fact.
Oh, really?
Yeah, take a look at it.
Okay.
Okay, John. Talk to you later. Appreciate it.
Talk to you later, guys.
All right, John, later.
Thanks a
John's
lot.
a good
Take
guy,
care,
man.
brother.
Anytime I
Yeah.
post anytime I post anything on the, Facebook or anything, John's right on it, posting it, reposting it. He's the man.
I met John, but it was chaotic. You know what I mean? I was running around signing up, so I didn't really get to talk to him.
Yeah.
But he did give me some stuff, and I used it. And I mean, you know, I pay attention to the car, but I didn't use it enough to really to see what it did.
See the difference.
You know, because I didn't get a bunch. And
do you sign autographs with a grease pencil, Lou?
Huh?
You use a grease pencil when you sign autographs?
Yeah. Sometimes.
Good.
I signed anything I got.
Yeah.
What's up, Doc? How you doing, man?
What's up, Lou? How you doing?
Man, nothing. Hanging in there, doing that thing, you know.
Hey, I was checking to see if you got that information I sent over to you.
Yes, I did.
How did you?
What I gotta do is wait. Which information did you did? You're not the Ford Falcon guy. Which one did I get for you? Which one am I getting for you?
We were talking about setting up shops and what questions to answer and ask your shop when you take your hot rod in. You know, the right way to do it. So you take your hard-earned money to a shop.
That one I didn't get. Wow. Hold on. Let me get a piece of paper.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I didn't get that one, but hold on. Let me get a piece of paper.
First thing is to see their insurance.
Yeah.
The big thing about, like, if you take your car to somebody, I would say, you know, look at previous cars they've done, but it's kind of weird, and I've fallen into this myself because every car is different. The biggest thing you got to worry about is the money. You know what I mean? Like, I got a friend right now doing he's got a 61 bubble top. He's got a 409 going in it with a 4-speed, and he would you know, the car's in Georgia, he's in Tennessee. He would tell the guy, "Hey, I'm coming down to look at it," and he's getting billed for it. But when he goes and looks at the car, it looks like nothing's been done to the car. And he's a car guy. He's a car guy. But you can't tell me that you spent 3 months blocking the car for paint. And he knows that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things going on right now just south of where you guys do your filming, and the information that I sent you was an unfortunate situation that was on the news of a gentleman that took two 59 caddies in to get work done. He gave them $20,000, and it was a supposed decent shop. Now, the local people here know better, and you know, it is so unfortunate. And, you know, Lou and I, you know me, I know you. We've been in the business for 20, 30 years. We've seen it come and go. And, you know, it just seems like everybody ends up at my door. And, Lou, I know you've been in the same situation with the sob story about how they just got done spending $15,000. And a prime example, we did a car for SEMA this year, built a chassis for a gentleman. And they brought us the chassis the guy spent $10,000 on. And, Lou, I wish I had pictures, because I've got guys that I train to weld that are less than 6 weeks under their belt that can weld better. And this thing had a 1,200 horsepower motor in it. The 4-link rear suspension was literally popcorn welded together. It was so dangerous. Not only that, it was 5/8 of an inch out of square.
Wow.
And we pulled the body off this thing, and I think I should do. And I'm like, well, first thing you should do is get a lawyer. Second thing, I'm going to tell you, we're going to do it like this, this, and this. You're going to call Art Morris. You're going to get one of their made chassis. This is what they do. You know, and the guy went down the path with me and was unfortunate, but he had already lost so much money. And I hate to see people in a situation where they lose so much money and they end up at a decent shop and they have no money to work with.
Right. But Doc, I remember you were asking about an LS engine. I remember that. But
that's what it was for.
But the problem is, Doc, is anybody can hang their shingle out and say they're a shop.
Absolutely. And this is what I wanted to talk to you guys about.
And
is that
it's really hard. It's really hard to decipher who's good and who's bad. And I guess the only way you can do it is to stay on top of them. You know what I mean?
But you could also talk to previous
unannounced.
You could talk to previous customers. You can look at previous work, and that doesn't always guarantee you the best job. But like you say, Lou, you know, being involved. If you're looking to put something together and you're laying out thousands of dollars, if you don't check in with them every so often, when we do a build, every 14 days we give a minimum of 100 pictures of whatever we're working with, a rear end, a chassis, whatever. We don't do body work per se, but that's not our gig. I've got a body guy that takes care of that. But, you know, every 14 days, my clients can expect some sort of photo packet. And a lot of guys say, hey, you know, you can slow up on that a little bit. But this is a detailed information. When you go later on to sell the car, you can tell the next person as to what's been done. Now, whether your shop does this or you take it upon yourself to go down every 2 days or 5 days or whatever you can, 2 weeks, and take a half a dozen pictures. Because, you know, Lou, a lot of work can be done that the average guy, even if he's a car guy, may not be able to decipher. He can look at a chassis and not know that there's 40 hours of weld work done on that thing between grinding and polishing and whatnot.
The biggest problem is that, quite honestly, TV's ruined it.
Yeah, make it seem easy.
TV's ruined it because, you know, and I get this. Well, you know, how come you did it on the show in a half an hour? Yeah, okay, and it took us a week to do the show.
Yeah.
And you know, the show that I did up there, because you and I filmed out of the same studios. The show that we did previous to that is the same sort of scenario. And a lot of people don't understand, and I hope I'm not giving away some secrets, but, you know, your show is unfortunately the same deal, is that, you know, you film for 9 to 10 hours. They compress it down. You have 14 minutes of real build time that you have to give some legitimate information, and then you've got to pay the bills. You got to use the other 12 minutes. So, you know, in a half hour, you might get an actuality of 17 minutes of true airtime. So it's really tough to do. The nice thing that I like Kindig, it has a pretty decent deal where they actually tell you the days. They show you a job, it's day 258 or, you know, 365 like the Streamliner they did. You know, and it gives a realistic number to what it takes to build with. They're not just overnight projects. So when people come into my shop with greater expectations than what they actually are, they think they can just drop a motor in. Like, you know, Lou, I called all over the country to find that LS9 motor. And let's face it, I didn't have a budget. I had an American Express black card that I could buy anything I wanted anywhere, and I had to call you. You hooked me up with the guy out in Texas. He got me the whole package, done deal. Right. But we're talking about a $27,000 motor, and it was $3,200 to get it to me next day. So, you know, that's the things that we got to deal with, and that's the things that I think a lot of people aren't aware as to what it takes.
You've got people getting into this that want cars now. They've got money. They don't have any car sense. They've got tons of money, but see, that's indicative of what's going on in the whole industry. I mean, you know, look at all these groups that are bought. Like MSD was just bought by Holley. Well, they were bought a few months ago by a venture capital group. Who owns Holley? A venture capital group. These guys come in, and all they care about is the bottom line. They just want to make sure they make their money. So you've got guys now who are running these businesses who don't know shit about cars. You've got other guys who've made their money, you know, on a stock market or some computer company, and they've got money, and now this is like, I want a hot rod. So they don't know what it costs to build a car. They don't have a clue. You know what I mean? They don't have a clue. But then the problem is you run into these shops who don't know how to really build a car. And I mean, realistically, in this country, there's probably 30 shops who could build a car at the kind of level that some of you guys want. But you're going to be I'm really pushing it at 30. I mean, I'm including like those little one-man shops like me. You know what I mean? Because they're detail-oriented.
Hey, Doc, give us your information about your shop and where you're at.
Oh, yeah.
We're in Sarasota, Florida. And this is going to sound really bad. I'm not open to the general public. I'm an engineer during the day. We run a hot rod shop with my father in the evening. We've been doing it for 25 years. You can go on the Facebook deal, DF2TS, and see some stuff we've done there. We've done some stuff for Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue. Brian Johnson lives right down the road. We've done 2 vehicles for him. We've done a couple of SEMA vehicles. We've had 6 vehicles at CES. I did a little show called High Rev Tuners back in the early 2000s. Did some drag racing professionally and not professionally, and it's just, you know, I love motorsports all around, and it could be anything from snowmobile drag racing to mud bogs. If it's got a motor that goes fast and you can do something stupid in it, I'm on.
I'm with you.
You know, but it just irritates me to no end. And I'm going to be really nice about this because I understand that this is an open deal and we don't know who we're talking to. But the shop in my neighboring town, the guy came out of Texas, opened this place up, a lot of flash in the pan, you know, had all the right looks. And Lou, if you walked in a place, you look around and go, okay, you got a great downdraft booth, you got this, you got that. The guy talks a good game. He even pulled people like the Hanson out of Deadliest Catch. He did a car for them and totally destroyed it. Then he bails on a bunch of people, runs down to Miami, opens another shop in Miami, and he's got like 28 cars in a shop warehouse up here that he just shut the door and walked away. And it's all, you know, if you go to the Bradenton Herald Tribune and pull up, you know, I think it's Hot Rod Shop Does Bad or something. I'm not going to mention any names, but you can pull it up. All the information's there. The video's there. The Fed shut him down for illegal dumping. And from all appearances, it looked like he was doing a good thing. But you start talking to the body guys. You walk in and talk to the body guy. Hey, and the painter. Every other week you'd go there was a different painter. Well, I ran into one of his guys, and I'm like, hey, what's up with the deal? He goes, we never got paid. One guy's out $22,000 in back pay on a custom job. So if you're going to pick a shop, and I don't care whose shop you pick, because there's some really, really, as Lou says, there's some really great one-man operations. I mean, I know a guy in North Carolina that does unbelievable work. Nobody knows about him except for the people that word of mouth. And that's all he wants. And he's a great guy. But, you know, you get to these big shops, and they think they can do a Ken Diggett. They think they can do a Rad Ride, but, you know, Troy type thing or a Boy Coddington thing. They don't understand the whole principle of what it takes. You can have one guy with passion and a bunch of guys looking at money. As Lou said, you've got these venture capitals coming in and buying all these companies up right now. And what's happening? The love of what it's all about is going away. And all they see is the big dollar figure. And it's so sad.
It is. I mean, hell, I got one in my shop now. My painter's a one-man shop. He's up. You remember Brent, the skinny guy with the buzz cut on Muscle Car? He's my painter. The car in front of the car in front of me stalled. Money. All right. I call the people, let them know what's going on, keep them in the loop. They're taking it somewhere else. I'm like, no, can't take it somewhere else. The guy does it the way I want it. When I get it back, it's clean, it's dialed in. I don't have to do nothing. You know what I mean? I go up there, we put the body, I watch him hang the body panels. I hold the door when he needs me to hold it. He takes care of it. You know what I mean? I can't ask for more. I can't.
Right.
And they get mad at me. So when I get it to interior, they tell, no, we're not gonna do it. We're not gonna pay. What do you mean you're not gonna pay? Next thing you know, the interior guy's kicking out of the shop. So now I told him I'm not gonna take it somewhere else. I'm on a waiting list now. Car would have been done. So now this spring it's going to interior. It's been sitting in my shop a year and a half. And I mean, I'm sorry. I can't. If I'm going to build a car at that level, I have to be picky. You know what I mean? I have to be picky. And that's what.
Absolutely. Because nobody's going to see the backside of what's going on with Lou. They're going to see Lou's face, and Lou painted the car, or Lou did the interior, or Lou did this, and Lou, you got it, or anybody else has to stand up for what they've got.
The way I see it,
because they're the representation.
And I tell people this all the time. The last shop that gets the car is who did the car. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they didn't do the chassis work. All that matters is when someone says, "Hey, who painted your car?" So and so did it. They, in their mind, they built the car. They don't hear that this guy just painted the car.
Absolutely.
They don't hear that. And that's where you get screwed.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then I'm fine with that because I do chassis work. Most people don't ever see the work I do. And I can live with that. I don't have a problem with it. But the thing is I'm not gonna motherfuck anybody. You know what I mean? Because that's what happens. You know, if you get a shitty paint job or you get a shitty interior job, they're not gonna care how the car drives down the road. You're screwed. And that's what people don't get. And realistically, I tell people this. This is the other thing I tell people. When you come to me for a car, we're going to play 20 questions. Because you know what? Realistically, I am a doctor. I am a doctor for your ego. The reason why you're going to come talk to me about building you a car with that kind of dollar figure attached to it is because you don't have the smallest dick in the parking lot. I mean, you do have the smallest dick. I'm sorry. I said that backwards. You've got the smallest dick in the parking lot. All your friends have cool cars. Some of them have Ferraris. And guess what? Now you're nobody. And you need to get the biggest dick in the parking lot. Why do you think they come talk to guys who build these kind of cars? The reason why people go to Rad Rides and Ken Diggett and Hollywood Hot Rods and Scott's Hot Rods is because the bottom line is their ego's damaged. Mm-hmm. That's the bottom line.
Right.
I mean, I remember Scott's Hot Rods built in 2008, I think it was. They won the Amber Award, right? The AMBR, America's Most Beautiful Roadster. I went there the next year, and the car was they had the car come back. The guy sold the car. It's got a whole new owner. And the guy who had the car built is standing there with his AMBR jacket on. He doesn't even own the car anymore. He's standing there.
Well, that gets back to the whole dollar figure situation. You know, like you say, it's who's got the biggest schlong in the parking lot. But, you know, if you don't mind, Lou, I really like to hit your guys over the head tonight, if at all possible. Anytime you guys check out a shop, you know, do me a big favor. Talk to some of the employees. If the owner won't let you talk to the employees, then there's some issues there. There's some things that maybe he's trying to hide up. You know, you could go to any Snap-on guy, and if you've got halfway decent credit, you can make your shop dressed out real nice with a very little amount.
Talk to the Snap-on guy. Think about it. Because if they're not paying their bill,
he knows their turnover.
He knows their turnover.
Right.
Yep.
Right. You know, talk to the paint supplier. People are like, well, that's crazy. Why would I go to the guy, you know, at the Sickens or Sherwin-Williams or whoever? You know what? Like you just said, if the guy's producing 8 or 10 cars a month and he owes a couple of grand, no big deal.
Yep.
If he owes 10 grand, we got a problem.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, I think what we need to do one week, Lou, is just sit down and we just talk about this for an hour and a half. I mean, I really do. I think we need to do that because Doc's right. I mean, people have to be educated. I mean, because that's what this is all about.
You know, the other
thing it's serious business.
People should ask for.
I would feel more comfortable if a guy didn't come to me for 6 months and saved his money. As I've told several people, listen, don't come to me right now. You just don't have the funds. And I may piss people off. And you know what? I don't always play well with others, but I'm going to tell you like it is. And I'm going to show you what the situation is. I'm not trying to tell you I'm the right guy to do it. I'm not going to say that. I've got guys that are fabulous powder coaters. I'm going to say, listen, I don't do that. Go to this guy. He's a great powder coater like you, Lou. You've got your body guy. You know, the same kind of thing. I don't do body work. I'll hang a quarter panel or I'll do that, but I'm not going to do any mud work. That's not my forte. You want to build a car out of aluminum? Rock and roll. I'll build you a car out of aluminum. But, I'd rather have a guy get pissed at me, wait 6 months, come back with the money he needs to get the job done, and not set in Lou's shop for a year and a half. Have it in, out, and have him enjoying his ride, talking about how great of an experience he had building his
that's
beautiful
a big problem
car.
too. Is mechanics take cars in and let them sit, you know, and they sit for 6 months, a year, and the guy's like, "Man, I want my car back. I want my car back." Then it turns into a duck and hide. You know, the mechanics hiding from them. Yeah.
Right.
What do you think about a signed contract at the beginning that lays out, you know, terms of the job, expected time frames and costs and things like that, and then that gets amended?
Well, the only problem with some of that is that, Lou, you could back me on this. A lot of times, like trying to find this motor. We were trying to find this LS9 motor. It's a brand new GM package. You know, it comes in a new Corvette, supercharged, and the thing's impossible to get a hold of right now. And I searched all over the country to get one. So I was in a time crunch. Fortunately, I didn't have a budget scenario, so we were able to bring that thing in without too much difficulty. But if you're trying to go like Art Morris makes probably the best chassis I'm aware of right now in a general situation. You got a 55 or 56, or you got that Impala or the Camaro. They got the hydroform like you guys did on the on that oil car that you guys did, that beautiful green one there. You know, if you get some of that stuff, you'd be surprised at how long it takes to get some of that stuff from the manufacturers. A lot of it isn't just right off the shelf. Sometimes you got to wait 5 or 6 weeks. So you got to convey that to the customer, and the customer doesn't really always want to wait for the part to come in, and it's hard for them to understand. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll sit down with the customer. We'll go like we are right now. I'll call up my representative at whoever it may be, Summit Racing, let's say. I call my boy Chad in Atlanta. We'll sit right there. Hey, Chad, I'm here with so-and-so. We're working on his 68 Mustang. Hey, we're waiting on that Fat Man front end. You know, what's the status on that? Okay, we got the cradle. The K-member's done, but the A-arms aren't. Okay, he's sitting right there. He sees the legitimacy. Okay, so let's go someplace else. Let's finish another project on the vehicle and try and get some movement on the vehicle itself. So sometimes it's not always the shop or the mechanic with a situation, and I'm not trying to give them a scapegoat. But, you know, when you sit down with it, you sit down with the client, the first thing you should really do is lay out exactly what the client wants and to spend the money at. You know, these guys can go and spend ridiculous amounts of money in bad places. They could buy widgets that get you nowhere and spend thousands of dollars, or let's buy the nuts and bolts, which actually take more time and more money, because it's the big parts that go fast.
Well, and
the little parts that will hang you every time.
You get a lot of guys. I see this more than anything else. A lot of guys come to me after their car's painted. You know what I mean? They got this car and it's painted. Like, now you want me to cut the car up? I'm playing with fire. You know what I mean? I'm going to take a plasma cutter to your car. I'm not going to fix your paint job when I burn it because a spark got on it. Take it somewhere else. You know, you would be amazed at how many guys do that. Everybody buys these killer engines. They buy these killer transmissions. They get this killer paint job. Oh, shit, it doesn't hook up now. It doesn't drive right. Well, let's go see the chassis guy. No. No.
Come on, hey Lou, cut them tubs out of my freaking '69 Camaro. Put the 9-inch kit in there. Add me 2 inches to the wheel well, and don't hurt the $20,000 paint job. I'll pick it up in a week, buddy. Are you kidding me?
It's amazing.
Get real.
People come to me like that, and I had a guy come to me one time. I had a guy come to me. He goes, "This is what I'm going to pay you to do the job. I'm going to get the parts from here, and this is what I'm going to pay you to do it." I'm like, "No, you're not."
Oh no.
Well, why not?
Have a nice day.
Why not?
Have a nice day.
There's 45 minutes up the interstate. There's Statesville. He goes, "There's a guy in Statesville doing it. Then fucking take it to him."
Yeah.
Have a nice day. Do you need some tokens to get you there? Because I don't even. Yeah. If you start out with a problem, you're never going to get rid of the problem. Even if you fix the problem, that problem is a living problem now that you'll see at the track, at the show, bad-mouthing this. You know, I don't have – life is too short
letting you know
to deal with the bad problems.
And I mean this. I do work for a friend of mine, Ken. He does Mustangs. I got one in his shop, and I told him until I get my shop expanded, I can't do it because my shop's just too packed. I need more space. So I'm working on that. But after I'm done. I'm going to build the stuff I got in the yard. I'm going to do all the chassis work. I'll paint underneath the car. I'll have Brent. I'll take it to Brent. I'll fix like the floor pans, paint it black, paint the chassis black, make it a driver. I'll have the upholstery seat, the upholstery done on the driver's seat.
No crate and a bunch of clothes. Come on.
And that's what I got to have, and that number's non-negotiable.
There you go.
End of story. And I'll put them 4 inches off the deck, drive the wheels off them with a force sale. That's what I'm gonna do, man. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm done building for people. I'm done. I don't want to do it no more. Next week.
Hey Lou, when do you guys start filming again?
Next week. Yeah.
A lot of them. Hey, isn't it great to be a movie star?
I stumbled.
He says that until he goes to eat for free.
A You know what? Listen, you don't even listen. I know it hasn't changed any. The eat for free is the barbecue joint down at the end of the street. You go down, you take a left. It's a half mile down on the left-hand side. Am I right? Am I right, Lou? Quit laughing, because when you get that at 1 o'clock, at 4 o'clock, you're looking for the restroom and Pepto-Bismol, baby, because that's the only free lunch you're getting.
Well, the good thing is, Lou, you can wear your lab coat with the pocket protector from the college at the filming.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna get a lab coat. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
They just got to shoot you from the waist up and leave the back open, and you're good to go.
That's bad, Doc. That's bad.
He's sitting there with no pants on right now.
Hey! Don't be looking.
That's awesome.
Hey, but that's a good topic, Doc. We really got to put together a show for that, because that makes sense. I mean, a lot of people get in trouble and lose a lot of money. People that don't have the money, you know.
Well, and see that's one of the things.
That don't have
that's one of the things that I've always wanted to do. And I told you this, Lou, a couple of years ago. One of the things I want to do if I could ever get my own show where I'm running it, is educate people so they know what questions to ask. I mean, I've said that for years. I've said that for years.
Good show, but that's scary.
But I don't think it's ever going to happen because, I don't have the money to do my own TV show.
We're working on that.
but
I just got a new order of ski mask in. We're working on it. We got the ones with polka dots on it. Yeah.
I want the ears.
How about some ears? You got some ears on?
Something with stripes. I'll help you.
No. You just stay in the car.
No stripes.
Got the numbers.
Stripes.
Hey, Ray,
wrong stripe.
Stripes.
Ray's going to keep the car running.
but I.
Hey, if there's any way possible I could help you guys out in the furthering of this whole situation, I'm a partnership in a welding supply place. So anything you guys need, I can help you out with. We got about $2.5 million worth of inventory. We're an exclusive importer for a whole product line. I'd love to take care of you guys. Anything we could do, and any of the guys that are online right now need something. I'm not trying to pimp my product. That's not why I'm here. I'm here because I love Lou. But if somebody wants to learn how to weld, we're in Daytona. We do all the big shows, Hershey, SEMA, CES, things like that. And my big thing is that I can take anybody from any walk of life, and if you can use a caulk gun, I could teach you how to TIG weld in 5 minutes and run a legitimate, passable bead in aluminum. There's like 4 little quick trips, and there's 1,000 guys on YouTube doing it. I'm not saying I got any great answers. I was really fortunate and got to spend a little time in Indianapolis with some of the godfathers of the early Indy cars. They taught me some really interesting tips and tricks that make things really, really, really simple. And you don't over-glorify what you're trying to do. You just straightforward look at what's going on. And I don't take it from a scientific standpoint. I won't give you big words. John gave some big words. I had to look them up in the Webster's Dictionary to remember what they were. I still don't know what they are. There's too many letters involved there. So I got to stay to like 4 and 6 letter words for a poor mechanic like me to understand. But basically, it's about rhythm and flow and angle and comfort. And if you can get those things, mastered, welding's actually relatively easy. Yeah. Lou, if you're comfortable with what you're doing, it flows. And there's dumb things like, I tell guys, people, they'll step into our trailer. We've got a full demo trailer. I can have you weld on anything. I've got 15 different welders, plasma cutters, everything set up. And we'll set you up with our base machine. And you'll do some like 1/8 inch. And the first thing I ask a guy, I said, well, what kind of music do you listen to? And they all kind of look at me funny, and they're like, well, what's that got to do with welding? I said, well, let me explain something to you. Welding's a rhythmic situation. If you can get the rhythm right, everything else comes easy. If a guy's into the country, okay, what's your favorite country tune? And you get, okay, this. Well, you understand a Tennessee waltz, right? Da, 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 da. Well, if you weld like that and you lay it down under that tempo and you're listening to music, you'll lay a perfect beat. So I'll, pull up on the phone some country music, lay it down, make a couple of passes, and in 5 minutes, all of a sudden the guy's going, I've been doing this in my garage for 10 years and I haven't been able to get this figured out. what's the big deal? I just laid this great beat down. I'm like, because you're trying to do things that your buddy taught you or that you've seen on TV, but you didn't get the actual hard nut of the shell to understand what you were really doing. And it's 4 simple steps, really simple and easy, and it makes welding fun. It really does.
Are so stretched out. I listen to punk rock.
Well, yeah. It's. I think it's all them Jersey punk rockers, man. They just want to go to a mile a minute.
I think Lou's
hey, Doc.
the Sid Vicious of welding over here.
Yeah. Hey, Doc, this is what we'll do. We'll set you up to come on the show and actually do your thing on one of our episodes.
I'll be right back. I got to shake hands. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Absolutely. I would. He's got to do. See, he didn't have no pants on. I seen it. Yeah, I'd love to. Whatever you guys need, whatever you guys want to do. Lou knows how to get a hold of me. My Twitter feed's up there. You've got my Facebook deal. Anybody's got any questions? If I don't know it, I've got people that do. A real good friend of mine is just one of those certified genius guys, but he uses really, really big words, so you got to slow him down a little. But he's a great guy for knowledge. And anything we can do. I'm down in South Florida, so if anybody's down this way, our next show is going to be Sumter, Florida. We've got a 3-day deal up there. We've got a big booth, and it's free. Just come out to the booth and, Doc, say you want to try it, and we'll show you how to do it.
For the buck right now is for a combo machine, a MIG-TIG welder.
Well, obviously, I'm going to say our machines, but let me. Here's the thing. When you're looking at the machine, the number one thing when you're going to buy a machine, I don't care if it's a MIG, a TIG, a stick, or whatever. The number one thing you want to look at is duty cycle. And most people don't understand. They'll go down to Dookie style. That's what you were just doing. I understand. Holy Lou, Yeah. Duty cycle, you got to look at the longer the duty cycle is, the more stable the machine is. Now, you can go down to your local big box store and you can buy a TIG welder right now. I just see one today. As a matter of fact, I got a flyer for like $199. It says it's a 140 amp TIG welder, but the problem is it's 10% duty cycle. So you can weld, and they don't go by full voltage and amperage. It's only half. So it's 70 amps at 10% of your full run. I don't know a lot of guys are going to weld for 8-10 seconds and stop. So when you're looking at a machine, don't look at always the dollar figure. And I'm not telling you to go buy, the Miller Dynasty, which is $10,000. You don't need that. What I'm saying is, look at the machine, look at what you're going to use it for, and be realistic as to what you're going to, end user is going to be. So if you can get something that's got a duty cycle of in the 40 to 50%, that's phenomenal. Our machines are all 60% duty cycle. And also understand that if you try to buy a 110 machine and run it like a 220, it's not going to work. A lot of guys out there try to buy Lou, I know better. You unplug the wife's washing machine, you plug into the dryer outlet, and you go to town. I know better. I've been there. I've seen it. Yeah, you're that guy. You're that guy. The other thing you're going to notice is a lot of the machines now have really gotten smaller because we've gone to inverted technology. We're using MOSFETs for power supplies instead of big coil transfer systems. So, in the last 5 years, the technology has just vastly improved. It makes a average welder a real good welder. It makes a poor welder an average welder. If probably the best bang for the buck, we got a machine. It's called the CT416. It'll give you 140 amps on a TIG, 140 amps on a stick, and a 40 amp plasma. It's retails for $7.99. 60% duty cycle. And we give a 2-year warranty. We're in Sarasota. Everything's based out of Sarasota. If it breaks in 2 years, ship it to us. If I can't fix it in my in-house facility, we ship it back out, a brand new machine to you within 24 hours. So, but Miller's got a real nice machine. I know the machine. I think you guys now, Lou, have on there the
we got a Miller. We have a Dynasty, and we have
right. Didn't you get the new Hobart
one of the
machine?
other shows might have, but we got an ESAB plasma cutter and an ESAB MIG.
That's what it is. ESAB's got that new digital setup that's pretty nice.
I haven't.
It makes a quick
I've used it a
reference.
couple of times, but I really don't know anything. They're right in South Carolina. I don't know nothing about them.
I mean, the parent company was European.
Yeah, I knew
Right.
they were European, but I really don't know anything else about them. I don't.
Okay.
And actually, it's kind of, I'm kind of stuck because I've got Lincoln. I've always my dad was a Lincoln guy. I became a Lincoln guy, but I can't. I don't get any help from anybody. I don't get no help. You know, I mean,
let's face it. Yeah, but let's face it. Your love of Lincoln, not only from your father, but you and I, which I just realized after reading your bio, you and I crossed paths in 81, 82, and 83. Both of the Navy. Both crossed paths across the ocean a couple of different places. But, you know, the Navy used Lincoln for years.
Yeah.
As their exclusive, you know, and they used the big, the tombstone stick welders, you know, the whole 9 yards. Yeah. But I mean, you know, it's whatever feels comfortable for you to use and whatever your dollar can afford to buy you. And buy the best you can afford to buy. Don't buy, you know, if you're going out to spend $600 on a welder and you spend $300, you bitch. Well, guess what?
And I tell people this today because I was traveling so much in the Navy. I was always moving stuff. He told me flat out, if you're going to buy a machine that you can get repaired anywhere in the world. You buy it. And just before Miller bought Hobart, they were standing on. He said, you buy a Hobart, a Miller, a Lincoln. He said, I don't care where you go in the world. If that thing breaks, you can get it fixed. And you know, and
get fixed.
I tell people that now because it's true. You know, I remember when I was at Spec Work Group staff, I bought my SP250 and you know, I saved up my money and I got it. And all the guys like, man, I wouldn't have spent that $2,000 for that machine. I wouldn't have done it. They all bought cheap machines. They all lasted like 6 months. And when I had a problem with my Lincoln, I called them up and they said, what do we need to do to make it right? You know, and right. Come on. I mean, you can't argue with that. You know what I mean? And I'm not sponsored by Lincoln, but you know what? I'll stay loyal just because of that kind of service that I got. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I'm not here to badger anybody's product because let's face it, they didn't get where they're at by selling junk.
We had Miller on muscle car, and when we had a problem with the Miller, I called Jim Niles, NYES, I think it is Jim. I called up Jim. I said, Jim, I got a problem with this machine. He came down that day, man. And it wasn't. And I mean, come on, man. I mean, he gets the machine taken care of. I told him that I wanted a small Stinger from like one of the 110 machines, because that's what I use instead of the big handle. Brought it down with him. You know what I mean? You can't argue with that kind of service. And if they're willing to give that to you, and even if you don't ever use it, knowing that you have it is comforting.
All right.
And yet I see guys taking Harbor Freight stuff out left and the thing right, is that, man, out of Harbor Freight in Hempstead. Oh, God.
Yeah.
You know, well, that's crazy.
Well, here's a real interesting thing to do. And again, I'm not here to badger anybody's product, but if you find a friend that happens to have a Harbor Freight piece, unbolt 6 screws and pull the cover off and look inside. You will be shocked. Well, the amount of product that should be there that isn't, and the way that they're bouncing the MOSFET back and forth, which is what creates the power in some of these machines, is really ridiculous. I mean, that's why they're only getting 10 and 12 and 15% duty cycles on them. But if that's all you can afford to do, understand you're not going to go weld your chassis together. You know, and a lot of these guys, they try to go out and they'll want to buy that you know, the Dynasty 350. It's $10,000 for that thing. I don't even have one, and I could if I wanted to work a deal. I don't need it. I've never needed to use that thing that big. You know, I don't know what you use, Lou, to do your chassis. We use I've got an older Snap-on 250 machine that's just trued and tried, and it just beat to death. But I also have the aluminum spool gun that goes with it, so if I have to do any repairs, I'm able to do that as well. And that thing will probably not leave until it absolutely dies. And it's about 15, 18 years old, the YA250. But, the average guy with a 200-amp wire feed machine shooting 028, 035 wire, that's it. That's all you need. I can take 035 and I'll stick 3/4 plate on a 3-pass system, and it'll pass inspection. It'll be X-rayable. And most guys are like, oh, no, you got to have 350 amps. You got to have 250. No. You don't need all that, to get proper penetration. A lot of guys try to overheat it, and they fracture the metal,
happens is,
and they crystallize it.
There's a lot of these guys, because they don't know what they need. Dude, if you have a 250, you don't need any more than that.
No, never.
Because think about it, realistically,
ever.
Even if you build a real heavy chassis, the most you're ever going to weld is 1/4 inch. The most. Most of you chassis guys do 3/16 or they do 1/8. They do 10 gauge plate, which is just a tick under an eighth. You know what I mean? You don't need anything bigger than that. I mean, hell, I have a Lincoln SP 250, and I got a 250 because I'm that guy. When I was welding on anything that came in the yard, I might be welding on an excavator bucket. You know what I mean? Right. So I needed a machine that big, but the thing never gets turned up when I'm doing chassis work. And I have an old square wave TIG, a 275, and that's it.
And that's the other thing. It's that the older machines. And that's the other thing. It's that the older machines are coming available from a lot of guys dumping them. What you have to understand is if it's a 240 machine, 240 volt machine, like that squirrel wave machine, although it's a great machine, understand that the average, let's just say, because we've done testing, the Lincoln 250 or 275 at idle with no current other than just the machine on itself, it draws 27.5 amps from the wall because it's a transformer technology. It's not the new style. Our machine, 250 amps, setting at idle, is 1.65 amps of current draw to be turned on.
Nice.
Okay. In the Miller's the same way. Lincoln's got a similar machine. It does the same thing. And at 250 amps of full power, 100%, laying down a fat nasty out of an 1/8 inch TIG rod, which, you're welding some serious stuff, liquid cooled, the whole 9 yards. I think it was like right around 39.5, almost 40 amps. That's it. So at max, we're less than almost the idle current is on the older machines. So if you're trying to do this at your house and you fire your welder up and your wife goes, hey, you just killed the computer and you just killed this and the TV shut off and, you watch your old school power meter spin like a gyrocopter, you got problems. So that's another thing to look at, Don't be just wanting to jump out to the swap meet because you see a great deal on an older machine. Understand that an older machine is probably a great machine in the right situation.
You know what I want though, man?
Not really for home use.
I'm crazy. You're gonna think I'm crazy. Remember those old gray Ideal Arcs? They were just.
Oh yeah.
Time out. I'll tell you what, Lou. If you'll come get it, I have a 350 Idle Arc from 1968 hanging on the wall. I will send you a picture. It probably weighs 500 pounds.
Machine. I don't have 3
If you want it. No, this is the big green ones. No, this is the big gray ones were all 3-phase. That was part of their commercial line. I'll send you a picture. I'll
call the power company, Lou. Have them run that extra line from the street right out.
No, man. I priced it a few years ago. Just to get it to my driveway was $5,500, and my driveway is 1/8 of a mile long.
Just to get it to the tip.
Just to get it to the driveway. I was like, man, I can't do that. and then I had to pay. They said that for the first 3 years I had to pay. It like they didn't charge me. They just charged me. Okay, your bill is going to be, $1,000 a month for the next 3 years. There was no what I use, no nothing. It was this is the way it is. I mean, I can't do that, and I haven't. That's why I don't have 3-phase. It's crazy because I'm not. It came out to be like when it was all said and done, just to get it to the end of my driveway was like $10,000.
Wow.
And then I was pay a set rate for the damn power.
Hey Lou,
talk to me. North Kakalaki.
What state are you in, Lou?
Yeah, I'm not moving.
Oh, okay.
I ain't moving. Nah, I ain't
For
leaving.
3 days.
I ain't leaving.
That move for 3 days.
You know what I mean? I ain't doing it. I gotta get like 10. I gotta get like 10 big rigs in here to move me. I ain't doing it.
I feel you on that one.
I'm in too
we can't
deep,
move
man.
I got the 6-foot privacy fence all around the house, and people are like, "That's a nice looking house." From the outside, they open the door, and it looks like a used car lot of rat rods and antiques. And I mean, I got an International. I got a 29 Ford sitting back here. I got a DeSoto.
Guy.
I'm building it for a customer.
I got 2 of them. I'm gonna do mine at the school. I'm gonna have to talk. Hey, Doc, shoot me about the school thing I got going.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, because I don't know what they have for welding.
No problem.
I have no idea.
Yeah, we can do something for them.
And we just
we can do something for them
because they want me to do it. They wanted me to do a non-structural welding class because they do like type and all that. So
and that's kind of that. If we can figure out a schedule. We can figure out a scheduled time. And if I'm up in the area, we can have the demo trailer show up and have everything on site where they can just walk through the demo trailer. I'm self-contained. I don't need anything. I have my own generator, my own power, like I said. And they can do everything from a MIG, a TIG, a stick, a plasma, anything they want. We've actually got a new robotic machine. It's really killer. They can sit there with their phone and control the whole thing. It's miniaturized, but they can can watch it and see how production works.
Oh, you can use your smartphone.
Yeah, okay.
Use your smartphone to control.
Exactly.
Hey, Lou,
you got to be smart to use the phone.
For you, Lou, down in the chat.
Oh, it's the Falcon guy.
Yeah.
Yes, I do have his information.
Hold on, I'm gonna run and check something real quick.
I do have his information, but I don't have. But it's in the shop. I got to go get it. I went down and wrote up the list of the titles. I have to go down to the shop and get it. So shoot me an email address. Falcon guy, put your email address up there and I can get it to you. Come on, make it happen. I guess he's listening. Let me
He's down there.
Yeah. So he should be listening.
He's down there. There you go.
There you go. Yes.
There you go.
Got it now.
See it? All right. Yeah, so if you can figure out a time and a date, you might want to do that, some kind of general information. I'd love to come up there and help you guys out with that.
I know I'm going to need supplies. So I'm going to have to talk to you about that too. I copied and pasted it already down anyway.
Consumables we do. Yeah, consumables we do, but I don't do any rod or anything like that.
That's all you do is
we do machines.
Wow. Because usually people do both, you know.
Well, yeah, but we're not a storefront. We're not a storefront. We're a distributor. We're actually the distributor.
Okay, I got you.
But we've got a filming facility in house. We've got a training facility in house, and we've got our own tech department, which we repair anybody's machines. 2 of our guys are both Miller and Lincoln certified, and we're certified on Hobart. So we've got all our accreditations up to date.
You know how Miller does that small cooler? It's a round one. Yeah. Is that
the plastic one.
I just need one.
How many you want?
Well, here's what I got. I got this. I got this crazy little. It's a stick machine. It's from Century. It's like $500, and it's inverter, and you can TIG with it. And what I want to do is it's a scratch start, but what I want to do is get it so I can put a cooler on it. I've built the chassis with the thing already, and it welds really nice. I really like it.
Sweet. So that's a DC TIG only.
TIG with it,
correct?
DC only. Yeah, I think it. Yeah,
DC only.
I really don't know much about it. It was given to me. I did some commercials for Century, and they paid me, and they had just come up with this thing. It's out of Italy, I think, and the guy gave it to me, saying, "Try it. Tell me what you think."
Right.
And the only thing I didn't like about it was the first thing I did with it was build a chassis. Was that the damn handle just gets too hot because it's air cooled. So I'm so, you know, me, the guy I am, I'm like,
Air cooled, right?
I wonder if I could put a water cooler on it.
If you tell me what kind of ends you got on it, if you have conventional or European style, send me a picture of it. Just email me a picture of it, and I can take a look at it. I can set you up a whole cooler and a TIG torch and ship it up to you. But let me say something real quick. You know, a lot of guys like Lou and I'm not sure. I don't know the other two guys real well. I'm sure we'll get to know those guys. But you know, if you're a mechanic or you're a welder or a body guy, and you don't take every day and learn something new, then you're wasting a little bit of your life every day, in my opinion. And we're on our way up to the PRI show up in Indianapolis one year, and we had stopped off a couple of different dealers, and we came into this dealership, and it was a nice dealer. It was kind of backwoods. It was in the country. Of course, it's in Indianapolis, South Indy there. Cornfields all around, and it's cold, you know, because Indy's first November is freezing. And this guy was talking about how he welds aluminum with DC. And I said, you know, I've heard of it. People have talked about it. I've never seen it done. I've had guys tell me. I've had instructors tell me you can't do it. Well, you know, TIG welding originated back in the late 30s in DC. TIG welding, that's all they did. They didn't have AC at that point until the late 50s and early 60s it came around. All right. So, you know, this guy in a bib overalls, he's probably 85, 90 years old, came in on a tractor, swear to God. And he gets off and he's talking to the one rep. He's there to pick up a tank of gas. And he's like, you know, yeah, I've been welding all that aluminum DC. That thing's working great. And I said, sir, excuse me, would you mind showing me how you do that? I'll set one of our machines up. I'd love to see how you accomplish this. So he gets his helmet on. He's got a non-auto darkening helmet because he doesn't like new fancy gadgets. He lays his machine in, sets his amperage up, and lays a pass. And I'm looking at it, just shaking my head, thinking, what is he doing? It's not a beautiful bead, but it's penetrating. It's laying. It's got good flow. It looks great. I can't figure it out. I look at the machine. I'm like, it's our machine. It's DC. I know it is. What's the magic? After talking to the guy for a few minutes, simple thing, 100% argon or 100% helium.
Wow.
That's it. That's it. If you get a chance, get a small bottle. It's very expensive. Get a small bottle, throw it on your DC machine, run it like you normally would run it. If you're going to run a piece of, 18 gauge or whatever, you're going to kick it down about 55, 60, depending on how fast you're going to run it. You're going to run it through a 5/30 seconds rod. Let it do its thing. Don't needle it out. Let it ball back because it'll ball back with the helium, and run with it. And it won't give you that real pretty puddling effect. You know, you get a little more of a darker haze. It's not that shiny, that shiny look that you're really looking for. You're going to get that gray ashy look because it's not as clean and pure, and you're not AC, so you're not able to clean it through the secondary pulse of the AC, and you're making the pass. But if you had, I'm trying to think, so if Lou, small block Chevy, you broke that top bolt off that transmission, and you pull it out, it's greasy, it's nasty. If you try to do that with AC, as the AC pulses and tries to clean, it's going to take that oil and explode it really bad. You're never going to get good penetration out of it. So what you want to do is take a little carb clean it out. I personally like to use acetone because it flashes off, leaves no residue. Stainless steel, brush it down, put the part in there, and start at each side. Don't run your cracks out because it'll crack out. Run in, center. Lay it down one time, get a piece of scrap junk and try it. Man, I'm telling you what, I stood there and shook my head. I said, sir, I've been doing this almost 30 years. You taught me more than 5 minutes than I've taught from a lot of instructors. And, I mean, the guy had great ideas on other things he did and the way he did it because he's a good old country boy, and this is all he had to work with. Come to find out, he actually worked at the Pratt & Whitney factory in Indianapolis.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, you the man.
God.
You the man.
Well, my neighbor up the street is an engineer. He's retired, and he has just this wealth of knowledge. He's built 2 road graders in his 2-car garage.
Is he bored or what? Is he bored or what? A road grader?
2 of them.
I mean, a road grader?
2 of them.
He didn't get the first one that we wanted, so he didn't get the first one that we wanted, so he had to build a second one to make sure he got all the bugs worked out.
Wow.
Yeah.
You guys are nuts down there.
But dude, I'm telling you, my neighbor Scott, right? The man's just a freaking genius. If you looked at the guy or listened to him talk, you would never, ever in a million years think that this guy, his IQ's off the charts. He worked in the textile industry at a company named TubeTex, and him and 2 other engineers took 7 machines and made one. Okay? You take the cotton out of the field, you throw it in the hopper. When it comes out the other end, it's washed, it's dried, it's woven, it's shrunk, it's dried.
And it's a shirt.
It's a T-shirt.
Oh,
T-shirts.
cool. Really?
That's why they don't have seams here anymore. This is my neighbor.
Wow.
This is my neighbor. And the machine is so crazy that the companies that get it, they have to pay royalties on it because nobody has been able to figure out how to fix it. He said one time they went to China and the Chinese actually took a machine apart. They even made all the tags and the labels, and they made everything. And when they couldn't get it to work, they called TubeTex and said, hey, this thing doesn't work. Can you come out and fix it? And when the techs got out there to work on it, one of them realized that something wasn't right. So they started digging more and they realized that it was a copy. But that's how close they came to getting the machine fixed and copying the machine.
That's what they do best.
And he said what they did immediately was they confiscated the machine they sold them and the copy. They took them both and shipped them back to the States. But the guy, man, he shows me more shit than I could ever imagine. He does farm tractors every now and then. There's a shop around here. And some of the heavier stuff they just don't know how. They just don't have the ability to do it. And he was taking there was a Sun Gear setup, and it was like a big champagne, like a big cup, you know. And the Sun Gear was in the middle, and it had a setup where a planetary could run around the outside. But the problem is that when you assembled it, I think it was an old Massey Ferguson. When you assembled it, you had to get the bolts. You put the bolts in, and then everything goes in on top of it. If it stuck out too far, it would shear the planetaries because they hit. Mm-hmm. So you could tell it'd been worked on before. So he chucks it up in his lathe. He cleans all the brazing rod off of the outside of it, cleans it all up, makes it nice, puts it back together. And then he figures out this formula. If you take a 3/8 bolt, fine thread, the points on the hex are a certain distance, and if you turn it 1 point, it's 3/32 of an inch. That's how far the bolt travels in the hole. So he figures out how to take this bolt mathematically, make it so long, turn it so many times so it tightens up, and it won't stick out too far and shear the fucking planetary again.
Yeah, I've seen that formula because they talk about with fine thread and coarse thread. That's sometimes in aerospace. That's consideration.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have. There's no computer in his house. Right. He's 70 years old, and I'm telling you, when I got a problem, I go up there, and I just. And get him on the lab, man. Get him on. He won't come on. He will not come on. He won't do it.
Bring your computer to his house.
Old school.
He won't do it.
Yeah.
He will not do it.
Hey, Lou. Just get a Model 8 crank on the side of your computer. Tell him to crank it, and you got to explain how it works.
The guy is. He's a great guy, and he's got this pond. He's got a pond in his yard. And the volunteer fire department wanted to use it as an emergency watering hole if they needed it, if they had a fire in this area so they could get water. So the state sends this guy out, and, there's this guy and this lady, and they go out there and they check how deep it is, and they look the pond over and all that. And the guy, and I'm standing there because, there's cars on the street. So I get nosy, Mm-hmm. So I pull over there and I'm listening to this guy talk to Scott, and he's talking to Scott like Scott's a damn idiot. And he goes, well, we got to go back to the office now and figure out how much water's in there. Scott goes, I can tell you how much water's in it. Guy looks at him and goes, well, it's this big by this deep, but it means it's got 18,000 gallons of water in it. And the guy looks at him and he goes, well, how do you know that? He goes, What makes you think I'm wrong? You can check the numbers; it'll be right.
Yeah.
I mean, just fucking rattled it off. He just rattled it off, man. And I'm like, oh God. It's casual conversation.
Yeah. And we take that stuff for granted, man. The older gentlemen, they got it.
Man.
They had to figure it out without computer.
Yeah. I mean, he's just the dude. Well, when I went back to school, you know, I was at a hard time with math. It never made sense to me. I go up there and stop people do. He taught me math, man. He taught me math. You know, because I don't do that stuff. And he taught me, and I understood. He made it so it made sense to me. You know, I go up there and I use his lathe and I use his mill because mine isn't hooked up because I don't have space.
Lou, that's the greatest ability any teacher can have, is to be able to reach a student on their terms.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you do that, when you make that connection, it's a home run.
The man is just phenomenal. As a matter of fact, no, I don't have it. I think Junior's got it. I think I sent the pictures. There's a picture. I think Junior's got it of the road grader. It's John Deere Green. I think he's got. I think they're on the Google Drive. I'll check. But I remember it was January. He built he calls it Little Speedy. He built this tractor. It's got a 400 small block in it with a Granny Gear 4-speed out of a crew cab dually with the rear end is I forgot what the rear end's out of. But it was January. It was like 20 degrees out. I'm wearing shorts and a flannel shirt, and we're racing the thing up and down the street at midnight.
Nice.
I get back to his house, snot's frozen on my face. But the guy's a freaking genius, man. I mean, it's out of control. I mean, and the thing is there's guys like that just walking around, man. You know, you can learn so much from them guys.
Mm-hmm.
Lou, those two guys that I mentioned up in Indianapolis, we went up on vacation. My wife's from Indy. Yeah. We went down to Gasoline Alley, you know, because I know some of the shops down there. And I went down there and hung out. I met these two guys. They're almost at the end by the railroad tracks. I wish I could remember the name of their shop. But you take a right, and there's like 4 shops all next to each other, been there for 100 years. And there's 2 old guys, and they're probably in their 80s. I walk in the front of the shop. They got a bunch of projects, all aluminum projects, and it's a wooden roof, metal front building, and there's a chain across. And I'm standing there, and here's the old guy, and he's gas welding aluminum together. Now, that's an art in itself, you know. So I'm watching him, and I'm watching the technique he's doing, and I'm just keeping an eye on him. And he's got a half a cigar, you know, the old school style, chomping on the thing, half out of his mouth, just welding away with his eyeball goggles on, just going at it. And he takes them off, looks up, and he goes, "Hey, young fella, you want to see how to do this?" I'm like, "Oh, absolutely. You know, show me. So I walk in there, and as I walk in, there's a 1935 power hammer. And I look at this power hammer, and it's probably 10.5 feet tall in an 11-foot building. And I'm thinking, man, this thing is huge. And after a 15, 20-minute conversation with the gentleman, I said, "Sir, I'm really curious. What did you guys do to get this in here?" He goes, "Oh, it came out of the Pratt Whitney plant in 1955. We cut a hole in the roof and dropped it through the roof."
New generation wouldn't be able to figure that out.
Sure. So No. What? Cut the roof? Oh, my God. So, you know, we're just carrying on a conversation. He walks over there, and let me tell you what, this thing is unbelievably smooth. You know, some of the newer power hammers, they beat the heck out of the floor. They're not real smooth. They're kind of chattery on the bottom. Man, this thing, he was just in and out and rocking it. I got to run the thing, and it's just silky, smooth, crazy smooth. And so I'm looking up at the wall, and there's pictures all over. And he's talking about all these guys in the 40s and 50s. Well, apparently these guys were the coach builders of a lot of the Indy cars in the day, in 40s and 50s. So this guy walks in. I didn't know who he was. You know, I see this picture on the wall. I assumed he was somebody popular, famous. And this is like a week after Indy, you know, so there's still a lot of these guys in town. So after taking the guys 4 or 5 hours sitting there talking with them and sucking up every information I could, the wife and I said, "Hey, we're going to go. Thank you very much." We left. we went down to a little local restaurant right around the corner. We're eating. Who walks in? These two fellas, right? Coolest thing ever. I said, you know what? My dad taught me right. So I got the waitress. I said, look, I'm going to take care of their bill. They gave me 5 hours of their time, didn't charge me a dime, and taught me so much about simple things of just power hammering and this and that and shaping and understanding how it's rolling and curving, just real basic stuff. But I love it, man. I said, I'm going to take care of their lunch. 5 minutes after I get that waitress, I couldn't believe it, but who walks in? Mario Andretti. Sets down and like these guys are best buds. I mean, so these guys are the legit deal, and that made me feel so proud to buy them lunch. I thought I had it. I thought I had it down. So what do? Oh yeah, I get up, I walk out. Guess what? They bought my lunch. I was like, those sneaky SOBs. I thought I was going to get one over on them. So, you never know where the knowledge is to be learned as long as you keep your eyes open and you listen to people.
You know what, man? Coach building is an art within itself. I mean, I would love to learn how to do more of that because I just never really had the opportunity to play with it.
They had all the wooden bucks. For I'm sorry, most people don't understand it. The wooden models of the skeletons of how to lay the aluminum down, and they were hanging from the ceiling, and they had the serial numbers on them of the years they were produced and who drove what and what car it was for, and this guy wanted a 3/4 inch offset of the seat this way because his arm was problem and this and that, and it was all on these wooden bucks hanging from the ceiling, and I'm thinking, my God, that stuff needs to be in a museum. Here it is just gathering dust in this old shop, and it's so unfortunate because I guarantee you what's going to happen. One of them's going to pass away. They're going to shut the shop down. Somebody's going to walk in and throw all that stuff in the garbage, and I'm like, oh, what a crying shame.
It's
exactly.
Crazy. It's sad.
Exactly. It is. And the unfortunate part is that a lot of that is deteriorating and going away at such a high rate that to talk to kids, I've got a buddy that teaches at a local Votech. He teaches auto body shop. And, I go in there and I listen to some of those kids, and you listen to them talk. And the day of you and I standing in auto shop, BSing about our 66 Chevelle, going out to throw some air shocks on it so we can shove bigger tires that won't fit in there to begin with, that's gone. They're on their smartphone here going, oh yeah, I could set my timing. Wait a minute, it's coming up on YouTube here. Oh yeah, I just do, and the love of understanding what it's all about, being able to listen to a car. Yeah. Nobody listens to cars anymore. It's like they plug it in, the OBD2 port, they grab their laptop, bing bang boom, here you go. The days of going, hey man, you got a lifter getting a little loose there. You got a rocker starting having a problem, or it looks like you got a bottom end issue. You say that to some of the younger guys, and they look at you and go, how in the hell do you know that?
I had a guy come over to the house, ask me if I could show him how to adjust points.
Wow.
Didn't know how to do it.
Yeah, but you know what? He wasn't afraid. He was man enough to understand he couldn't do it himself, and he went to somebody who knew how to do it. Yeah, I gotta commend somebody like that. I do, because at least he's reaching out and going, hey, man, it's not like, I'll just, fudge it along and hopefully it stays together or whatever.
Well,
hey, Lou, man, I don't know how to do this. How do you do it?
Because I'm becoming that guy I'm becoming that guy. Like when you were getting into cars and you were growing up, there was always that guy that everybody went to and he had that information that everybody needed.
Right.
There's always, I'm becoming that guy because I get phone calls like that now. People come over to the house now. I mean, I don't mind it. I really don't. But it's just kind of weird because I never in my life ever thought that I would be that guy. You just don't, what I mean? I'm just building cool cars. Now I'm answering questions.
Right. But you're building cars. You are doing, a lot of guys say, hey man, I've built a rod. Well, how many did you do? Well, how long did it take? 5 years. Cool. It's done. Right. Rock out. You and I and some of the other guys I'm sure on right now, we're doing maybe 2-3 a month, depending on our scheduling and whatnot and money, and putting them out the door. And when you're exposed to a greater number of bills. And even if you get, you know what, you'd be surprised if you get a local shop and you say, hey, man, can I just come out and do something that they don't do anymore? Can I just come out and be a mentor? Can I come out and just watch? Can I sweep the floor? Can I see what's going on? Stay out of your way, maybe learn a little. And a lot of guys, you know, you'd be surprised. A lot of guys are willing to open their shop up and say, yeah, sure, come on out and hang out. You know, you do the right thing. We'll do the right thing by you, and we'll get a little free labor out of the deal.
Right.
Especially if you bring your own dwell meter.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
Well, yeah. Listen, if it's not one of the big ones with the big 180-degree sweeps on it, you know, and 5 dials on the front, and you know, made by Mallory or somebody, we can't have it.
Right. You know what I want? I want to get a Sun distributor machine.
Oh yeah, we have one at the AutoZeum, Lou.
I want to get one.
Right in Garden City.
I want to get one. I want to get an old Sun machine. That's what I want to get. They
still work. Yeah.
Oh, I know they work. I mean, I just think it would be. I don't know how to curve a distributor, but I'd like to learn.
It's not hard.
I didn't think it was.
No.
I didn't think it was.
A little bit of math, but you can handle it.
I ain't worried about the math part. I can figure out where it needs to come in at.
As long as it doesn't go past 4 digits, he's okay.
Right.
I'm good. I can handle it. What up, Kurt?
Sure.
Hello, Lou.
How's it going, man?
I finally figured out after months your last name wasn't Ferrigno anymore. Oh, man. So wait, Doc, you got
I seen that posting you put on there.
Doc,
I couldn't believe it.
To you. I worked for one of the local engine shops, and Lou walks in. I had been at the beach the weekend before with my cousins, and we're all sitting around watching Netflix lost episodes of one of the builder showdown deals that Lou had done, and it was on one of the stream deals. And I'm sitting there shooting the shit, and the guy that does the heads in the engine shop comes out, and he's like, we got to get this, and that done. And I'm like, hang on a second. I'm trying to figure out where I know this guy from. And he was like, man, I don't give a fuck who that guy is. Excuse my language. He's like, I don't care who that guy is. Quit worrying about it. And I'm still starstruck because about the time he said it, I figured out who he was and where I had seen him from. And I was like, come on, Ed, that's Lou Ferrigno from the TV show. And he was like, I don't care. And then the guy that runs the place comes back and he goes, where's the green guy? The green guy. I was like, what are you talking about? And so one of the other guys that does the block work comes out and he goes, dude, Lou Ferrigno is the guy that played the Hulk way back before you were born. And I was like, oh my God, I feel like an idiot.
Hey, Lou, I asked you what state you were from. Now, obviously, I could tell by your compadre there from what state you're from. I mean,
I tell you, man, it's funny because when we bought the house 23 years ago, and my sister-in-law lived in the next town over, and when we moved, we came down to visit, and it was a total fluke, man. Just like everything else in my life, a total fluke. I was looking through we came down from Norfolk. It was Sunday morning. We're going back, and I'm just looking at the newspaper, you know, and it was like a car ad, you know, remember the old little car ads, you know? It said 1984 square feet of living space, 6.6 acres, 36 by 40 shop, $135,000. And I'm like, man, I got to call that number. So I call it. Nobody answers. I get the phone book. I open up the phone book. It's Coldwell Bankers. So I just call it. They had a one-page ad. I tell the lady this lady just happens to answer. They were closed. She was in there getting some paperwork. She answers, and I tell her what I'm looking at, and she goes, I think I know who has that property. Do you want to see it? I'm like, yes, I do. So we come look at it. Got to have it. Don't know if they'll give me the money for it. Got to have it. Come to find out, the price had been knocked down to $125. It was you know, they misprinted it, or the newspaper didn't change it in time, whatever. So we're going round and round. 7 months go by, man, trying to get this house. And finally I tell the real estate agent, I want to talk to the owner. Well, come to find out, the owner lived in the house for a year. It sat empty for a year. He moved back to Lynchburg, Virginia. And I call the guy and I tell him, I'm like, look, man, I can't do what you're asking. I said, I can probably do 100. And he goes, I tell you what, if you can get me 108, I'll take it. I said, all right. So the bank approved us for 108. Come to find out, he paid 106 for the house 2 years before I bought it. And he only lived in it for a year. But he was toting 2 mortgages because him and his wife went back. So he was toting 2 mortgages and he had to get out from under it. And dude, I've been happy ever since, man. I love it here. I love it here. Now, I will tell you this. All them bastards from New York and Philadelphia are moving down here and they're killing me.
Guess who's coming next?
They're killing me. Because I'll sit there, man, I'll see them in the store and they start bitching about, this ain't the way we do it in New York. Well, motherfucker, you left New York, all right? Why are you bitching?
We've got an affectionate name for our tourists coming down here every year. You know, it's gotten worse and worse and worse. We have looked at property. My engine builder is in Asheville, North Carolina, and we looked at some property up there, and it was a little pricey for me. I can't hang. I mean, that stuff's in the $300,000-$400,000 range for a couple of acres. And there's some other spaces. We looked at like just south and west of Cherokee. There's some real nice property down there. And I got to have some acreage. You know, I got the same issue you got. If I move, it's going to take 5 semis. A buddy of mine just sold, and he bought a house northeast of Asheville. Mm-hmm. He sold a house we tried to buy, but I couldn't get on it fast enough. In my area here, if a house lists for $250 and it's got more than an acre, it'll sell for $400,000. 50% of the deals down here right now are cash. We looked at a house last night. It's 1,000 foot off the main road, single drive-in, acre and a half, 4 bedroom, 4 bath, 2-story, yada, yada. It was a foreclosure. So we ran over and looked at it. It just got posted. I called my realtor buddy. Boom, sold. It was listed at $98,500, sold for $2.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. So if I could make a living in North Carolina and be able to talk, not like Kurt over there, and be able to make a living, I'd be up there in a heartbeat. But you know, it's hard to break that nut up there.
Man, well, see, Asheville has gotten more expensive because I heard that there's a lot of the Hollywood types going in there. Yeah, so I heard they're driving the price of real estate through the roof.
That's like Wilmington. They're doing films up there now, so it's driving the price of real estate through the fucking roof.
That too, but I heard that there's a bunch of them that are actually buying houses up there and staying there, doing like the summer months up there and stuff like that. So that doesn't help either. You know, coming up and doing a movie is one thing, but coming up and staying is another.
What do you guys think about Tennessee?
Tennessee's nice. It's just where in Tennessee?
Merville.
Yeah.
Where?
Merville. It's actually Maryville, as how it's spelled, but they say it Merville.
Where's that in relation to Nashville? Because I've seen
east. It's further east. Yeah, I got a buddy from up here has a place down there, and he's been pushing it to me.
I've heard beautiful. Of it. I can't place it.
You know, right by Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg.
Yeah.
It's closer to me.
Yeah. See, if you stay up in that area, if you stay within 75 to 100 miles of that area, you're at the bottom end of the Smoky, so you still get the nice hills, you get the nice transition, you get the cooler weather. Yeah, you got humidity. Yeah, just deal with it, but you still get that. I don't know. I've been in some spots in the middle of the state. We went up to a big shooting deal up there, and man, it was flat. There was nothing appealing, in my opinion, to it. If I'm going to move, I'm going to move for, as we get a little older. I think 3 of us are about the same age here. I want to move somewhere where I can enjoy my little bit of time I have left to play with my cars.
Hey, man, this old man told me when I first moved here, Monday morning in the bank, getting a bank account. He's like 80 years old. We're talking. He goes, "Can I give you some advice?" I said, "You most certainly can." He goes, "If you go out of your house and take a piss and your neighbors know it, they're too damn close. And that's what you want to worry about."
Hey, and let me tell you, there's nothing better than walking outside and taking a piss. I'm telling you. It's the best.
Hey, I do that
Sorry
down
to
here.
cut
I
you
don't
off,
give a
Doc,
shit
but I
what my
just had to
neighbors
tell you
think.
that.
Doc, that's how we potty train the kids around here. The boys won't pee until you teach them to pee outside.
Exactly. Exactly, man. Dude,
I figured you're spending the money on nitrous and not diapers.
No, funniest story in the world. My son was probably 3 years old. Fought me potty training tooth and nail. Would not have anything to do with it. My mom tried. My wife tried. Couldn't nobody get him to piss in the toilet to save his life. I'm standing outside cutting a frame on a little Ranger I was working on at the time, and everybody was gone to the store to get lunch and things of that nature. And he's standing there, and he's kind of doing his little dance. And I'm like, what's the matter? You got to pee? And he just kind of nodded. And I said, come here and check this out. And I just grabbed his waistband, pulled him down. I said, here, pee. And he was like, outside? And I was like, hell, can't nobody see you? And from then on, never once have I had any trouble out of him since.
That's because you gave him a license to pee.
It's like handing him his man card, dude. They figure it out.
Exactly.
The clock just spins slower down here. That's all. You say what little time you got left. You come down here and the time doubles. The clock just slows way down.
I wish it would in my world because I need another 20 hours in my day. Let me tell you.
But man, look, I grew up in New York City, man, and the thing I realized when I left and went in the Navy, my first duty station was Coronado. San Diego was a small, sleepy city. I realized people were actually nice. You know what I mean? And that's when I made a conscious decision just not to go back to New York. I don't want to go. Because what I realized is you're just surviving, and I don't want to just survive.
Amen, bro.
That's the thing. I want to move forward. I want, I'm not motivated by money. I know I need to have it so I can survive, but I want to have a nice car. I want to have a nice house. You know what I mean? I want to have those little things in my little piece of the world, and that's what I got. And to have that in New York, come on, man. I was reading a thing the other day. I'm getting into blacksmithing, by the way. I was reading this thing the other day, an article. It was like 4 days old. The blacksmith for New York City Parks Department is retiring after 30 years. Starting pay $100K a year.
Which is chump change.
Exactly.
Because Lou, let's face it. Tell them how much a one-bedroom shit box
studio
in the studio in the outskirts of the city cost you a month.
$1,500 to $2,000 a month.
And you got listen, Kurt, how about this? No garage, no parking. You can't have a car. Your car has to be 15 miles out in a huge parking lot. You get to see once or twice a month if you're lucky, because you can't afford the $5,000 a month to pay for parking places, parking blocks, meters, and all that. Ask Lou. Am I lying, Lou?
Truth, man.
That's nuts.
That studio apartment is, Kurt? Take your one-car garage and cut it in half.
Hey,
no way.
Listen, Kurt, you know the Geico commercial where he talks about the little studio apartment and the guy shoves the rice through the door? Okay? Yeah. It's for real. That's for real, man.
Wow.
You got to also remember
you got people living in these studio apartments, and they have to get roommates because they can't afford the rent. Am I not right, Ray? Ray's there now. Ray lives out in Long Island.
What I got to say is you got to realize there's a lot more to New York besides the city. You got Long Island and upstate. It's like being down in the South.
It is. But the problem with the problem with upstate is, dude, the taxes in New York are through the roof.
Hey, Lou,
I'll show you my tax bill. Believe me. I know.
Number one, I can't carry open in New York.
Yeah.
And it's like American Express, pal. I don't leave home without it.
It's crazy, man.
Let me ask you real quick. Lou, you've been up there how long? How many years you lived up there in North Carolina?
23.
23. Have you ever had a chance to go to the Moonshiners Rat Rod Run It's like in North Georgia, I
No,
think.
I've heard of it, and I've never had the chance to go.
Okay. We did the Shades of the Past last year up there in Pigeon Forge. It was okay. I was kind of disappointed, but then again, too, I've done Hershey. I've done Daytona every year because it's right here for me. You know, we go out to Pomona and stuff like that. When I went up there, I was kind of a little disappointed because I was told it was a lot bigger than it was. The swap meet area is what really kind of, you know, kicked me in the butt. It was only maybe 40 booths up there in the park. And I was expecting a little more, but I had heard that the Moonshiner run was quite the run. Yeah, I guess it's 100 miles long, and you got to be able to run from one to the other.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I've never. That's one of those shows that we were always shooting on, so I never had the chance to go.
Right.
Because it's not that old of a show.
About 8-9 years old.
I was thinking like,
Yeah.
So I've been doing TV that amount of time, so I don't.
Right.
That's
because you got in right after I got out. Because I got out like I think 5 was our last year of shooting.
Yeah.
Because we shot like 3, 4, and 5, and then you came I think out of 5 or 6.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Because I met you originally up in Tennessee at the other deal. Yeah. Yep.
That's why.
Have you had it?
I knew I met you.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember where. That's where it was.
Well, we've been a bunch of times at SEMA, crossing paths and whatnot, and then we were talking about Jessie and that whole situation with her.
Right.
Remember?
That's where
that was
talked for a while.
Right. Her whole bad deal. You know.
Yeah.
And that's it's giving up some secrets. Unfortunately, we're talking. These guys don't understand what's going on, but I'm sure Lou's held down with some contract issues that he can't talk about certain things. But let me tell you what, the TV gig is not all glory that a lot of people think it is. My first gig was High Rev Tuners, and Dave Bowman actually found me at the state fair. We were doing a big presentation on getting max power out of small cubic inch, and I do I jump on my soapbox. I talk about real simple, basic things, what you could do, don't cost any money to get you more horsepower. And he came up and talked to me, and I knew who he was. And he said, listen, we got the show. We're trying to find, this, that, and everything else come on board. I had never done anything up to that point. And we did it for a couple of years. And the first thing, we went there, casting calls 5:30, makeup's at 6 o'clock. You're on the camera at 7. You don't get off till 9 o'clock. We shot 5 days a week for the first week of the month. And we'd shoot 13 episodes because you got 13 in the season. And it's, between that and the going out to the shows, the LA show and doing all those, people think, oh, you have to go all these shows, but you don't get to see anything. You're rushed from one point to the other point to the other point. Get a shot here, get a film here. We need cut reel for here. We need drop reel for that. And then you're on a plane and you're gone. People are like, oh, but you did this. You went to Vegas. You went, oh, yeah, it's fun. Yeah. The hotel was great and the airport was awesome.
It's a grind, man. Make no mistake, it's a grind.
It is. It really, you got to really love doing it. I enjoyed my time on there, but I couldn't do it and run the shop at the same time. It just didn't work.
It's the thing. I'm not like it's okay. The thing that I like about it is that I can build cool shit. If they let me build cool shit, that's all I care about.
Right.
It's like they try so hard not to let you build cool shit.
Well, and the other thing with us is that they tried to pattern our show after Sam and Dave's show, and they just couldn't get that it was a 50-year generational difference in gap. Because we had to wear collared shirts, and they fought me on wearing shorts. I don't own a pair of pants. I had to buy pants when I got married. Okay, I weld in shorts.
Yeah.
I'll be on 20th floor story building welding. People are like, you're nuts. That's just who I am. But, I had to fight that. And if I'm not comfortable, I'm not comfortable. That's all there is to it. And I tell people that when I teach them how to weld. If you're not comfortable, you're going to fight it, and you're never going to get a pretty weld.
Yeah.
Ever.
You're right. But the thing is because TV people don't know their audience.
Right.
When it comes to cars and TV people do not know the audience that they're trying to reach. They don't know it. And that's just the way it is. It's not
radio guys too. We don't know unless we get a phone call who we're talking to.
Right.
You assume that you're talking to people who understand what you're saying, but until they call you, you have no idea.
Right.
And you don't dare try and talk over their head or under their head to make them feel inferior, because that's not what we're trying to do.
Right.
We're trying, at least on my behalf, if I can educate somebody on anything that I have knowledge of, or I can reach out and touch somebody and say, listen, this guy is the guy to talk to. He really knows how to do X, Y, and Z. He'll get you hooked up and get you set and going, man. I mean, and that's what it's all about, connectivity and linking this person with that person.
Oh, yeah.
And Lou will tell you, sometimes you might do a job that you'll break even on a job, but it's going to link you to another job because you did the guy a solid.
Yeah.
He's going to tell his buddy, and you're going to make more on the backside because now you've got connections down and down and go.
Oh, yeah, it's all about building your network.
We found
Absolutely.
We found that, like, just what we're doing now by telling stories but trying to educate people at the same time, that's what endears the public to us. That's what gets us the calls. That's what people like.
Right. Well, guys, it is 20 to midnight, and I will turn into a pumpkin.
It's a marathon, man. What are you doing?
Supposed to go
Come on, we
all
got
night.
20 minutes. 20 minutes. So what are we going to do, next week? I mean, we'll have nothing to talk
4
about.
hours?
We'll sit here and twiddle. Well, yeah, 4 hours.
I'm bringing a coloring book.
Lou's gonna talk to us about his shop and his flowers. If you don't know, you got to get pictures of the flowers.
I think next week Lou should take the laptop out to the shop and just give everybody the grand tour.
It ain't no damn laptop.
There you go.
What are you talking about? It's a big desktop. I'm old school.
Me too.
Hey, Kurt, you didn't hear me tell him they had to have his neighbor with the Model A crank sticking in the side to get enough power?
That was good. That's good.
Yeah, man, ain't no damn laptop here. What are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
My phone is smarter than I am.
So what is your average run time on a Wednesday night, Lou?
We slated for an hour, but the last 4 weeks we've been going over. But we slated for an hour, and actually, we're getting more people like this. It's 124 listening. Is that what that is, Lee?
Yeah,
124 came
Wow.
through.
Nice.
124 came through, and 14 is still hanging out.
Yeah, we average around 10 to 14 people on all the time. So we're growing. We're getting big.
We've been I've been getting the word out on the radio show, telling people about it. The thing is, it's hard to tell them how to get a direct link. I just say go to BlabIM,
Well,
and you'll find it.
what you can do is go to my website, allinsmag.com, and every week I put a link right on the front page. So you just click on that, and you're in.
Nice. Okay,
you go.
good.
I'm putting it in the chat room right now.
Good.
And the one that Lou posts up, the picture of the car, when I see it, I'll shoot it out too. I shoot it out on Facebook, on both my Facebook pages. So that's how I've been doing, and I'll tweet it.
Yeah,
I'll tweet it when we start the show, but as soon as I see it, I send it out.
All right,
So,
good.
Doc, we'll be getting in touch with you. Our media people will get in touch with you, and we'll get stuff started.
Okay.
Lou Jr. is my media.
No problem. Oh,
Our
geez.
people.
Here we go. Hey, have your people call my people, and maybe we'll do lunch or something. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, actually, Junior, my son's coming down to Florida the same week that Lou's.
Yeah, he's gonna be down there.
So,
Where
next
at?
week.
No, I mean, where's he coming down to? Tampa?
He's Fort Myers, I think he said.
Yeah. See, I'm in Sarasota, so I'm right in between. You got Lou is in Tampa that they shoot out of. I'm in Sarasota, and then he's in Fort Myers. So he's about 3 hours south of Lou, and then about an hour and a half south of me.
okay, so he might be rolling up that way. I'm sure he's going to try to get to the show.
Yeah, if he can give me a call, I don't know. We got a week after next. We got a big race. He said he's going to be here from when to when.
He's only next week.
The 5th through the 10th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's flying out the 10th, Friday, Saturday.
Friday.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we got a big race in Sebring on Saturday, a week from this Saturday. So it's not if he was in town, I would bring him in.
Is it the 24-hour at Sebring?
No.
Which one?
No, Lou. You see that behind me, right there? It's hard to see.
It's a glare in it, but yeah, I see it. Is it Superman?
No, we race. We got out of that big dollar racing. We race very strange things now.
Oh,
Barstools?
is it a lemons race?
No. I got to do that one this year. Yeah. No. We race in a series of racing you have never done.
Lawnmowers.
Very good. There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
We my wife is past world champion in her class. They do 76 mile an hour. We are on clay. The motors are $5,000 a pop. For her class, the big class, the big twin class I'm in is they run about 10 to 15 grand, and that's billet rods, roller rockers, MSD ignition, titanium keepers, valves, balanced, blueprinted, yada yada. I go on and on and on, but it's they're nuts. They'll pick the front wheels off the ground coming out of the corner and boogity on down. We had our world finals at Charlotte this year. We do it every year, but we got rained out at the Auto Fest.
Oh, at the Auto Fair?
Yeah. We were at the back side of the Auto Fair while it was raining all weekend. They had the Terracross races. Did you go there this weekend or this year?
No, I didn't go this year. I didn't go.
Okay, well, the Terracross people were there. And then our track was in front of their track. They're putting a permanent track in for us. That's where our world finals are every year. We'll pull usually between 250 and 300 machines there for the world finals. They come in from all 50 states. Yeah. Go on to USLMRA. That's her world championship right there. Just right there. See right there. She's in the FX, which is the fastest single-cylinder class. A GX 390 Honda motor is what it starts out as, and then we punch them out. We pull about 59.5 horse out of them.
Wow.
And Lou, if you want to do something on the show, I'll drop a set off. That we have a new class called Mini Modifieds. They're super economical, but I'll drop some off for you and your boy. You can go putz around with them and do something stupid with the show if you want. If you need filler,
I'll ask Jared. Jared's down there. Jared's the technical producer. He rounds up all the stuff.
Right.
Yeah. I'll ask
Right
Jared,
on.
man.
Yeah.
Just.
But if you get down here and you've got time, we race the second Saturday of every month through the winter months. We go out to April, and then we have our finals in May for Florida, and then the rest of the U.S. starts after that. And we travel. We were 40 weekends a year, 7 years straight. Yeah, 7 years straight. 40-foot feather light, toter, the whole rig.
When do you sleep, Doc? Do you ever sleep?
No,
I didn't think
absolutely
so.
not. Staybill is our corporate sponsor.
I knew that.
Maybe you should have Red Bull as your corporate sponsor.
No. Monster.
Okay. Wow.
But
cool.
Staybill is our corporate sponsor, and they're the ones that we have 15 events throughout the United States: Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, Delaware, Mississippi, Georgia, Kentucky, Tennessee, and back to the World Finals.
I can't think of his name now. He's from Georgia.
Bobby Cleveland.
Bobby.
Yeah, that's my buddy.
Bobby's a hoot.
He's running my chest.
Bobby.
Yeah, he set the world record.
Love that guy.
He set the world record, and then the English took it away from us. And I'm probably going to leak something out here I got to be real careful about because it hasn't been absolutely publicly dropped yet. So you can figure this show is going to be the first place it'll be heard. The English took the trophy from us for the world's fastest lawnmower, but they cheated. Bobby did it at the Bonneville Salt Flats. We were out there. He did 98.752 mile an hour on a legit V-twin powered Briggs lawnmower. The English built theirs, and they had Honda of the UK build it, and they used a 1200 V-twin Honda motorcycle engine in their machine. They went legal. They went 117.665. We are currently under construction. We're going to set 2 records. You heard it here first. The first record, Texas Mile. Second record, Pikes Peak. We'll be the first mower. We'll be the first mower that's going to be accepted to run Pikes Peak. We've already preliminary got our paperwork done. As long as we pass tech, they have what's called an exhibition class. It's the last day. We don't race for money. We don't race for points. It's just strictly time. And we are running a 1 liter GSXR 1000 engine in it. That's built by Exoticycle, who has the fastest street bike in the world right now. He's right here in Sarasota, Johnny Turbo.
Fuel injected?
It's a 2014 GSXR. It'll produce right around 175 horse.
Yep.
In a John Deere.
Oh my God!
Wow. Okay, I'm done.
And you guys, and Lou, if you guys want updates on the build, or you want me to drop it off, and you guys can rap about it or whatever, it's open. It's open game now.
Let me talk to Jared when I go down there next week. That'd be fun.
Because it's all part of it's all part of Staybill.
Yeah.
Write yourself a note, Lou.
Yeah, write a note.
Yeah, write a
I was
note.
gonna say, yeah.
Lawnmower.
I got my notes from this show. I got a whole page of them. Things I got to look into and research now. Yeah.
But it's it's a chromoly chassis. 4-wheel disc brake, titanium bolts. The best of the best. Standalone engine management package. Everything that we can get our hands on to do what we got to do is coming to fruition on a deal.
Wow, that's cool.
Good.
That's neat.
That's bitching. I like that.
Well, keep us informed here on Blab. You can even, Blab from the actual race on your phone.
Oh, right on,
Yeah,
right on.
so anytime you want to show anything, call us. We'll start up a live Blab anywhere right now.
Oh no, yeah, very cool. And what I'll do is I've got it set up on the phone now. I've got everything dialed in.
Good.
And then what we'll do maybe Saturday, like I said, we've got this new class called Mini Mows. They do 22 mile an hour. It's for 7 to 12-year-olds. We build the chassis, turnkey, $1,750. They fit in the back of any SUV. It looks like a old school tractor, metal fenders. We build everything from scratch. And it has the same front ends as all our pro machines do. So as they move up in age, they can just take this chassis and move up in class. So it's not a 1 or 2 year hit type of deal.
Yeah.
And the kids are having an absolute blast. It's super economical. The cool thing is we've got mini mods, which are kids, and we've got mini modifieds, which are for adults. So you can take the same mower and the steering wheel adjusts. You pull a pin, slides up, put the pin back in, and the adult can run the same thing. So a father and daughter, father and son and mother, whatever, you could buy one machine, run 2 people on the same thing. And we figured it out. You could run all season for about $38.
Wow.
Fuel, oil, and 1 spark plug.
That's great.
I
Can't beat that, man.
I want one.
We're going lawnmower racing.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I guarantee you, wherever you guys live, I guarantee you there's a club within 100 miles.
Oh
here.
my God.
Look into that. Hey, that'd be a nice thing to cover for my magazine too.
Absolutely. Where are you out of?
Ohio, Youngstown, Ohio.
Okay, right on. Yeah, we used to be up. We used to have our nationals up at Mansfield.
Okay, yeah, about 2 hours from us.
Yep. And then we got hooked up with the guys in Charlotte, and they do. Let me tell you, those guys are the greatest guys to work with. They go way out of their way. Anything we need, machinery. I have never worked with a more professional group of guys that whatever we needed, they got. They made it happen.
Then you guys got to call in. We'll give you the radio coverage up here.
There you go.
Fantastic.
Get
We're
ready
starting
to
a
go.
national deal this weekend, so we'll be coast to coast.
We got. Listen, we got 7 minutes. 7 minutes till the big orange bursts right there in that screen. So I'm waiting. We got 6 minutes. 6 minutes. He said at midnight he turns to the big orange pumpkin.
Yeah.
I got money that he doesn't happen, but I want to see. I mean, we're both the baldies here, so it could be starting orange up here, working its way on down. You never know.
Your national deal, Ray.
Yeah.
Is it the same phone numbers to call in? I mean, what's the deal with that? Give us some info.
No, we're going to have a bank of 800 numbers. I don't even know what they are yet. It's going to be pretty much the same show we do now, but we're going to do it via satellite link through this national network. There's going to be stations from California to Clearwater, Florida, in fact, up through Tennessee, Georgia, Connecticut, and we're starting small. That is small, and we're going to grow it. We're just going to grow it. Hopefully, they'll pick us up in other stations, and we're going to be bad. We'll be nationwide.
Nice.
Yeah. Very cool.
And we're taking our friends with us, so all you guys are welcome to come and join, man. Come on the show.
I don't know if you're ready. I don't know if the rest of the country's ready for this.
You know
I
what?
don't think so.
We got to take no prisoners attitude, and you know how it goes, Lou. You're from up here.
Okay, everybody. Before we sign off, tell everybody what how to get a hold of you or your websites or anything, and then we'll sign off. Go ahead, Doc.
You can get me through DF2TS, which is Doc Fabricator to the Stars on Facebook, or you can just go to Doc Kuhfeld, KUHFELDT, and get me there. Anything you need, anything I help you guys with, ask questions, give me a holler.
Cool.
Got it. Ray Guarino, Motormouth Radio, co-host with Chris Switzer. We're out of New York. MotormouthRadio.com tells you everything you need to know.
And Kurt asked that question. There you go, Kurt.
Yeah, there's going to be a station down in Charleston where my niece is. There's I don't remember the frequency off the top of my head, but yeah, they got a pretty good coverage in the Southeast.
Cool. That'll work. Lou Santiago, host of Car Fix on Velocity, and general pain in the ass.
Yeah, and I've turned green. Look at me. I'm Ferrigno, the green guy.
I'm Lewis Lee from All Ends Magazine, and you can see our magazine in iTunes store or www.allendsmag.com. And we do this every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern, and we appreciate everybody coming in, and tell your friends and family to come check us out.
There you go.
That's 9 to 12, right?
It's going that way.
Yeah.
Listen, 4 minutes. We can't sign up for 4 minutes. We got to find something.
I'm going to have to take an extra nap.
Lou